This episode of the Giant Bombcast is brought to you in part by Leesa. They're the mattress people. They've done away with that weird mattress experience of going and talking to human beings about mattresses. No one wants to do that. Your mattress is yours. It's private time, right? They'll send you a Leesa mattress compressed in the box the size of a mini fridge right to your doorstep for free. You order that mattress on the internet. It's a 10-inch mattress that comes in all sizes, crafted with 3 unique foam layers, all this memory foam, Avena, and a 3rd layer. It's made in the USA, and again, it ships for free. They'll give you 100 nights to try that mattress out risk-free. You head over to leesa.com/bombcast and enter the promo code BOMBCAST at checkout, and you will get $75 off that mattress. That's a deal. That's leesa.com/bombcast, promo code BOMBCAST.
Hey, it's Tuesday, September the 27th, 2016. You are listening to the Giant Bombcast.
Hey.
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 Hi. What's going on?
Hello. I kicked my computer and made it work better, so I think I'm, by law, the only person allowed to go, that way.
You're a regular old IT expert over there.
I'm Tech Fonzie.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a leather jacket.
That works.
Yeah.
I have to...
Then we have to fight, I think.
Oh.
The display on my receiver goes out on a regular basis, like every 5 minutes, and I have to whack the side of it to make it come back on. So
Feels good.
I love that we still
know.
have technology that we can do that with.
Yep.
And it works.
Every time.
Yeah.
I'm Brad Shoemaker, Jeff Gersman,
Hello.
Drew Scanlon,
Hi.
Jason A. Striker.
Yo, hey, how's it going?
I'm fine.
Yeah.
How are you guys?
I'm feeling a lot better. Now,
Okay.
actually. Yeah, after like a week of being plague-ridden.
Yeah.
Brought to us by the harbinger of plagues, Dan Reichert.
The disease bringer
Yes.
rode in
feeling
on
a lot
his
better.
on his horse of illness. His
Like
steed of,
willingly too. That son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Like came in. He's like, oh fuck, I'm sick. I'm sorry, guys.
apparently, I picked a great time to not be here because it sounds like disease utterly ravaged this office last week.
It was
yeah.
pretty terrible.
What was going on in here?
Well, I don't know. I still have. I would get this annually for a while, and it's been a few years since I've had it. But I would get like a late summer cold or something like that would then lead to me having a cough that never goes away.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I would go to the doctor, and they'd be like, "Here's an asthma inhaler. Use it. You've got inflamed lungs, and just use it twice a day, and that'll take care of it."
Your flaming lungs,
Yeah,
like fire lungs.
Yeah.
That sounds cool.
I'm breathing fire
Yeah.
like crazy. So I still have that that cough lingering. I am now using an inhaler twice a day to get rid of it.
Nice.
Uh,
Were you out last week?
no.
You soldiered on.
Yeah, no. I feel fine. I
Okay.
just have this cough. I continue to have this cough that hasn't quite gone away.
Yeah, I needed to be out most of the week last week.
Really?
Yeah, because Griffin was sick as well,
Yeah.
so we were
You're just
trading
getting
that
it
back
from
and
both
forth.
ends.
Trading it back and forth.
Yeah, it was rough, and I just needed to, needed to recoup.
You guys running a real skeleton crew in here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
For
still
a
got
while.
some sniffles, a
Yeah.
little bit of phlegm,
Okay.
but I took,
Mm.
I
Mhm.
took
Well,
some
Dan-
medicine. I think we're good.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Dan's back out again.
He's
Yeah, yeah,
sick with
as
something else
you
from
can
the sounds
see.
of it,
Yeah.
which he was fine last week.
Yeah. So-
Yeah.
He has many illnesses.
We're heading into flu
I
season.
feel like you're
guess, yeah.
sitting on a pet theory or something here.
No, I don't know. It's the pet theory is that as soon as anyone gets sick in an office of this size, you just trade it around forever and ever and ever.
That's the peril of
for-
the open office.
right for like a couple months.
There are
or something
no
like that. And-
no cubicle walls between us.
yeah.
We should stop making out so much.
No.
Yeah.
You're right.
I mean, maybe if you hadn't lit the studio that way,
Mm.
it would be easier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just kind of happens.
Real makeout room in
Yeah.
there.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's been going on?
Oh, I don't know. Not
Things
much.
happening?
Let's,
Anything exciting in the world of this place?
Yeah, well, gosh. No, I don't know. You were out. So last week's show, we talked about Forza, which is out officially today,
Yes.
fully. There's probably some more to say about that version of the game.
I want to hear about your volcano vacation.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Yeah. I'd spent last week in Central America.
I only saw one photo, and it was of a volcano and a beer in one photograph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the biggest volcano in Costa Rica. I didn't have phone service down there, which turned out to be an amazing idea.
Nice.
So not a whole lot of internet access.
That sounds great.
Yeah. Easy way to not tweet about things is to not have a phone that works.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it's super interesting when you go off on your own and get lost in a foreign country where you don't really speak the language and you're
Just kind of got to hope for the best.
trying to get places.
So what you're saying
Like
is
if
that
you
muled things back into this country inside your body? Is that how it went?
That's kind of how it went.
Okay.
Like if you were to say take a single propeller plane into a tiny airport, which is actually basically like a garage with a single runway behind or beside it,
Awesome.
which apparently just got paved recently. Like
Oh.
right up until like 6 months ago, that runway was apparently gravel,
Okay.
and they had just gotten it paved, and then they charge you to exit the airport.
Awesome.
Yes, we had to pay 3,000 colones to leave that airport.
Okay, how many
It's like
dollars?
$6.
Okay,
But-
yeah, all right,
You got me,
yeah,
and then you got in a phone service.
yeah. What are you gonna do? Get back on the plane?
And then you get in a cab, and the cab driver pumps the clutch a few times and mutters something about the clutch in Spanish and gets out and puts some oil in the car.
Yeah.
Still can't crank the car. Tells you to get out of the cab.
All right.
And what? Find another one?
Basically,
Okay.
yes. That was.
So wait, what were you taking a bush plane into the Costa Rican jungle?
we
Oh,
flew
you know.
Fun.
stuff going on. Rainforest stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, stomping around rainforests and volcanoes.
That's a
pretty
nice
much,
rainforest.
Pretty much my week.
Hmm.
At a coffee plantation.
Wow.
Saw a boa constrictor
Ooh.
just hanging
in
out.
the wild.
Hanging out.
Hanging out?
Oh, yeah.
Like up close or anything?
We saw two kinds of sloths. Saw the boa.
I didn't know there was more than one kind.
There's 2- and 3-toed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
3-toed is the kind that looks like it's smiling.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how you
All right.
know.
And then
Which one looks
four-toed
like
is
it's
in Mario
high?
Party.
Mhm.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh,
What's that?
Which one looks like it's high? Both of them?
That's the 3-toed one.
3-toed
It's
one?
definitely got a real kind of kind of look to it.
Mm.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that boa was just hanging out, man. I think he had recently eaten something.
Okay.
He was very swollen and did not seem to give a shit that we were like 3 feet away.
I love when you
Distended.
see zoo animals in real
Yeah,
life.
it was crazy, man. Like we saw half a dozen iguanas in that rainforest and a howler monkey with a comically large scrotum
Oh, wow.
that it was very proud to present to us.
Sure, why not?
I mean, when you got it.
Yeah, totally.
Flaunt it.
It was a good time.
I saw
It
a
was a lot of
chihuahua this weekend under a
Oh, yeah?
car. Yeah. We were coming back from McDonald's or whatever, and we saw that traffic had stopped, and there was this little dog underneath this like SUV, and the driver kept trying to inch forward, and the dog was right under the fucking tire. So I immediately just like hopped out, got in front of the car, and then like by that time, like other people were trying to get this chihuahua out. But what made me think of this is because this chihuahua had the largest hard-on that I've ever seen. Scared shitless, and then just this big erection. He was having a great time.
Just get turned on
as
by
far as I can
danger.
tell.
Yeah.
I think
you
so.
know, everyone's got a different.
Everyone's
thing
got
that
their
turns
kink.
their crank. You
Yeah,
know?
sure.
Yeah.
He was trying to hide it.
I guess
Hide
so.
under the
He was
car.
embarrassed. Yeah, he was kind of skittish.
He wanted to fuck that truck.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. We had to bribe him with French fries. He eventually came out.
Works every time.
He's
Nice.
okay. He's all right.
Wow.
Anyway, yeah, that was my week.
How was the coffee plantation?
That was good. It was very touristy.
Okay.
Like that's not where they grow the actual like the real coffee farms are on the sides of mountains for the most part. This was more of like a kind of a mock one that was very easy.
It's like when you go to a wine tasting.
yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
they're
don't,
like,
like, pick-
here's some coffee.
yeah. It's like
How was
here is like a quarter of a mile of coffee plants you can walk through and kind of pretend you're on a plantation.
Okay.
Did you then drink coffee?
Yes.
How was it?
Drank a lot of coffee.
How was the
It's
coffee?
good. It was good. It was all kinds.
Is that code? You drank a lot of coffee. Okay, all right, okay.
They threw a shot of liqueur in the last one.
Sure.
It was pretty awesome.
Hey, nice.
It's pretty good stuff. It was a good time.
That sounds great.
Yeah. Not a lot of video games though.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I came back and hi.
I heard video games.
I came back and turned
Yeah.
on that Destiny expansion 2 nights ago and realized I hadn't touched a video game in like 10 days, 11 days.
Yeah.
Did you lose your reflexes?
Kind of
or
forgot how to
something?
play video games.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Well,
Very disorienting.
it happens to all of us.
Yeah. I don't know. Did you guys play that thing?
I did. Yeah,
Yeah.
I played one mission of the 2 missions of the story stuff. And yeah, that's
Yeah.
about it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I got to the new like social hub or whatever on the mountain,
Yes.
and then we recorded a quick look, and then I just kind of realized that I didn't necessarily want to play. I didn't care enough
Yeah.
about my character or any of that.
there
Like I
was-
spent a bunch of legendary marks and got like, okay, I got these 350 boots. And,
Yeah.
you know, like I started going through the motions of just like, well, I can get all these legendary marks by playing this shitty competitive multiplayer, so I guess I'll play that. And then I got the marks, and I was like, I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. So
Yeah, there was a lot of enthusiasm around here last year around that expansion.
For the Taken King.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of
Yeah.
stuff that was
Like,
added.
everybody
we all
in this
had,
office was
such
like-
high hopes,
Yeah.
because we wanted to get back into it,
Yeah.
and it seemed like this was the right way to go.
That is not happening
It has
this
been
year.
a rough year for Destiny if you think
Yeah.
about it. Like post Taken King, like what did they have? They had that Halloween. So I had a bunch of fucking masks, like crumpled masks
Yes.
in my inventory.
Yes, I couldn't accept a new helmet because I had like 3 masks and a bunch of junk in
Yeah, and then I have a bunch of quests for Sparrow Racing that I don't think you can do anymore.
Nope.
They straight up took that out.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can no
Yeah,
longer
all
race
those
cars.
seasonal events, which they did for like what 3 months or something. It was
guess,
like Halloween, Sparrow Racing, and I think there was a Valentine's thing.
Okay.
Right?
Oh, that's right. There was some
and
kind of
then-
like play with another person, and then
Something
you'll
like
be
that.
yeah. But it was like that was like, hey, we got a live team, and this is, and then apparently they abandoned
Stop
that.
doing that.
So
And then that April update raised the light cap a little bit, and like I
right.
have no idea what else it added.
Yeah. So I was coming back into it, not really having played much of it since the raid, since we did that raid.
I'm in the same spot.
So I was like, oh, I got this dumb bone scout rifle that everyone apparently coveted, but I don't really like firing it. And then sure enough, I got like a assault rifle right after that was higher, and I was like, okay, good, I'm just gonna go with this. And started getting boots and all this other stuff. And
I like the scouts.
infusing some things, and and then I realized like, well, I shouldn't infuse anything until I get items that are actually at the top, because I'm not going to burn exotic shards, leveling up my helmet now. So it was just like once I did the math and started figuring out how to play it right, I realized I didn't necessarily want to play it at all.
It's more Destiny.
Is playing it right any fun?
What do you mean?
Like, just making sure that you wait to like upgrade this stuff until a
it's
specific time.
Because now you're getting new items again. So like if anything, it's like, oh, my character looks slightly different and will for a while. For me, the actual downside was like, eventually the right thing to do is to infuse back into this exotic helmet I have and go back to looking almost exactly the way I looked before this content came out. Because you're taking these higher level items and infusing them into your exotic, which has additional abilities that make it worthwhile to keep it.
So that number went up.
Yeah, but then it will have a higher number, and then that's fun. So that was the thing for me, was like, oh, well, now I'm firing a different weapon at least, and changing this stuff up, and I've got a different secondary, and oh, look at this, I got this pistol I'm running around with. That's a fun little thing, and it's so yes, like the act of going through the motions is nice because you're getting all this stuff, but I feel like I'll end up at the exact same place I was before, unless I get new exotics that are better or something like that, which is entirely possible.
There are new ones in there.
Yeah,
I haven't seen any of them yet, but
and they've got their whole quest for the rocket launcher now, so everyone will have the fancy rocket
Everybody
launcher.
will get the Gjallarhorn
which
now.
almost certainly has to mean that the rocket launcher is not nearly as good as it used to be, or the rest of the game has.
I got that as a pre-order item, but you have to go.
Yeah, you still have to go. You still have to go through the quest to get it. But
So that
that's just
pre-order
a
item
skin.
you got is a skin for the item, not
the actual.
not the actual, or it's an item you will infuse the one you get into that if you want it to look different from everyone else's. Except everyone who wants to play Destiny obviously would have pre-ordered this thing, so the
all have
iron version of the weapon will certainly be the more common one at the end of the day. So that was my thing, is coming out of that going like, man, this. What does next year hold for Destiny when they actually put out a thing that theoretically is the real thing?
Oh, it has to be.
And started thinking about like, how do they get there from here? Because this content
Wait, the real thing, you're talking about a bigger expansion?
I'm talking about like
Destiny 2.
Destiny 2.
Whether it's an expansion or a standalone, it would be a standalone thing, assuming
Destiny 2.0
right?
potentially.
Yes, okay. like year 4 of Destiny.
I am convinced it will just be a new product, and it will probably be called Destiny 2. At this point.
And then you start to get into the questions of like, will my character carry over, or will they do? Because at the start of this one, they actually, since this didn't come out on previous consoles, that you go through the process of like copying your character, and then if you go back to play on PS3 or Xbox 360, it's like that's a separate copy of your character that progress no longer feeds into current console characters, because they broke that. So if they're willing to break that, which obviously they were going to have to do someday, do they break it again for next year's game?
Oh, you mean from your Rise of Iron character to Destiny 2?
Right. Like,
I doubt it.
Can I put in a Destiny 2 disc and play Destiny 1 content?
I highly doubt it.
That's the thing.
Will
this be a continuous world, or is it
like
an entirely different thing?
So the thing for me is that the more I play this expansion, the more I hope they don't do that, because I don't want them to constrain themselves to like all the limitations of how Destiny 1 is built.
But those limitations are inherent to a lot of the gear and classes and all of the other stuff.
Yeah.
So if they want to carry the character forward, then
they would, and you can gin up a storyline reason to do whatever you want. We found a new way to make guns and it's way better, so we got to melt down all of your old guns and armor to make the new guns with because there's a new threat. It's they could just make the Borg of the Destiny universe. These guns have rotating frequencies anyway.
Yep.
Get rid of all these old guns.
I mean, if you're going to put out a new box product, you're going to try to bring a bunch of new people in.
Right.
So at that point, they're just going to start everybody at level 1, right?
No,
I think they totally will.
But no, because if they've their whole story with this game, and maybe they'd be willing to break this too. But from pre-release,
like the 10-year plan or whatever.
Fuck the 10-year. The your character matters most of all.
Yeah.
And that's any like proper MMO. That is the thing. So if they want if people have built up an attachment to their character and the adventures they've been on. Whether that's valid or not, people have certainly found themselves in that space. If they go into next year's disc and they put it in and go, make a new Guardian, fuck that.
Oh, no.
Like,
I don't think that'll happen.
I don't think that'll work
I think they'll totally port, you'll be able to bring your look and feel over.
But
like
if they
maybe
bring
even
that
your
look
guns,
and feel over and then say you're level 1 again.
I think they totally will do that.
I think they'll just say, actually, you're starting a level 40 character. Like anyone, I think it'll be functionally identical to what you're saying. I just think they'll start at number 40 instead of number 1, even for new players.
Even if you've never played Destiny 1, that seems so weird. But maybe you're right.
Because I think that they, or maybe they just show it different ways to different players. Like if you imported a character, you're 40.
Ooh, that sounds confusing as hell.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But that probably wouldn't work.
Yeah.
But I just want to know how they get there from here because there's got to be storyline stuff that seals off the existing Destiny content if they want to have a cohesive storyline that carries them in. I think, like, by and large, if you look at what they've been doing for the past couple of years now in terms of like everything they've released past Destiny 1 has felt like stopgaps designed to give them more time to make the real thing.
That's what this literally is.
Yeah.
Like, if you remember, they delayed Destiny 2. That was supposed to be out this year.
Yeah.
And they pushed it back. Like, it was a big thing that came out of, I think it was Activision earnings or something is where that came out. Like, they literally pushed it back an entire year. Or they pushed it to next year. Who knows? If that means spring, I bet it means a year from now.
So, that's when they had we've got our live team and all these other events. That was them trying to go we're going to come up with stuff for these players. And then they probably realized at some point that didn't matter.
Yeah, they put in the microtransactions with the dances and all that stuff. They were like, we're going to keep this thing going. Well, but the story going around about this thing was that they made it in 9 months.
Yeah.
Because they needed something for this fall because this game wasn't ready.
It wasn't the Taken King, all the stuff they had to cut to ship Destiny 1?
That was all rumored. They
yeah.
never came out and said that, but stuff like the Dreadnought was rumored to have originally been intended for the shipping game, and they held it back and finished it up. But the Taken King was awesome. That was a revelation. That felt like, okay, this is a lot more like what the game should have been to begin with, but then this is just more of that, but not quite as good.
That's, I think our definitions of awesome differ. Where
it's all relative to how the game
terms of
shipped.
Destiny.
Right. It is
pretty
all
awesome.
the Taken King finished Destiny 1.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If Destiny had been what was in that thing at launch, people I think would have been relatively okay with it.
Yeah. Whatever, it sold that game, but people are more than okay with Destiny along the way.
Yeah, but
it just wouldn't have had this begrudging I like Destiny.
There's a very
feeling.
there's a long suffering quality to just about anybody that likes Destiny.
Yeah, for sure. So I wonder how they get there from here because I don't think from what I've heard about the content, this isn't going to necessarily lead people in the direction, or it doesn't definitively close off.
Oh no,
Destiny 1.
This is a weird little side story that kind of comes out of left field and doesn't feel super meaningful.
So if they are going to make a big break with the next game in a way that kind of theoretically storyline seals off existing content, I don't think they're there yet. I think they have to release more content between here and there to make that make sense.
How do they do that though? If they're all hands on deck trying to get this game done, which by all accounts is
but
they missed their ship date. It can't be going that well.
I mean, but also this seems like them writing the ship in a way, and it's taken them years to write it. Of okay, we got new people in charge of developing this content, and you guys are gonna kind of be the people that are supporting the shipping game. We're gonna be off over here making the game that'll actually be the 10-year plan.
Yeah, maybe it's not. Maybe it's not like it's actually going badly. It's just hey, we need this time to make it what it should be.
To do this the way that we probably should have done it 4 years ago.
Not have a repeat of the first
3 years ago, whatever. So that's how I look at it. Is that there's probably a team making extremely dramatic changes to what you think of as Destiny for what the next product is.
I fucking hope so.
I think they have to. I think in order to make that a viable game for another 3 years or something like that, they have to. they have to do more.
It can't just be another Destiny.
If
this
feels like a game's worth of content bolted on to Destiny 1, the same way these expansions have been, and it's still the same thing of like, well, we raised the light level, and now you can get to level 50, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that's not going to cut it. Even for me, even for like a huge Destiny apologist who enjoys playing the game, even though this new content is just kind of okay.
Yeah.
Some of it's pretty good. It's not amazing. Like a lot of it feels kind of recycled. Like that new zone is partially just an existing zone with some new stuff bolted onto it, and it's got a snow skin on it.
Yeah.
Some of the mission design is pretty good though. Like it's.
I think that like
it's pretty good for like knowing that they made it in 9 months, but it's still $30. So
yeah, I and I've had fun with Destiny over the last few years here.
Yeah.
So new content is still new content. Like there's still something that interests me about that.
Yeah.
But not at the expense of other games anymore. Yeah. Like I look at it and go like, oh, that'd be nice to play. I'm gonna keep playing Forza.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I will revisit Destiny at some point.
I hear pretty good things about the raid. Specifically, like I saw some people saying that like, oh, you can kind of tell they didn't have to support the old consoles anymore because like this new raid has some stuff going on that the previous ones didn't. In terms of just like big stuff moving around.
Right, and that's
you can look up and down.
Yeah, basically.
Nice.
Yeah, I would certainly like to see another raid. But the idea of like getting raid ready.
Yeah.
Because what is it?
I want to say it's 360 to get in there.
360, I think so. But like getting to 350 is pretty trivial. At this point with the way they've done it. Yeah, you might be right. It might be 365.
I'm not positive.
Yeah, but somewhere in that range, higher than the it is easy to get this gear range because 350 is the easy to get spot. Yeah, I don't know. I really want what they do with Destiny from here to be like a really like slate wiping thing of
it needs to be
of like, hey, like we lucked out, we put this thing out and a lot of great work went into it and it kind of went a little sideways, but people still give us the time of day. People still really attach themselves to this thing, even though everyone can kind of agree it is still smoldering in some ways.
Sure.
Like
the edges of it.
If they can come back around and be like, all right, from the ground up, we have fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
We have spent years looking at what people like about Destiny, and now we have like real hard data instead of just like us in a bunker going like, I don't know, ODST was good. Why don't we do I don't know, shit.
Sure.
Yeah,
because even those long-suffering Destiny fans are still invested in like what that game could be.
Totally,
like all the good parts.
Like
of
I am, as someone who is largely willing to walk away from a lot of the content that they have put out. Like I still think there's an amazing game to be had in that shell, in the world of Destiny, and that style of shooting, that style of combat, that style of like lobby shooter kind of thing. I think that totally works.
Like they still do the shooting on consoles better than just about anybody.
Yeah,
with a couple of exceptions.
Yeah.
But it needs to be a world. Like it needs to not just be a bunch of tiny little sectioned off areas.
It needs to be a world and a story, and like you can see over the course of the expansions that they've inserted. They've become a lot better at wrapping story around their gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
But they still have all the grimoire cards and all this other writing and stuff like that. That like. Even just put the logs in game. Just spend some time.
But this expansion makes you realize how like grossly underutilized a lot of the cool stuff they built is. It's like they've barely
and why they don't like double down on some of that.
Right,
stuff.
Like this is another expansion about fallen enemies.
Right.
It's like it's like they've done 2 Hive and 2 Fallen expansions, and it's like the Vex haven't really been touched since the Vault of Glass.
Mm-hmm.
The Cabal never got revisited again. Like you fight them for 3 hours on Mars, and then like that's it.
Right.
Like they've barely mentioned the Traveler, all these like mysteries that they built up.
There's some kind of implication, I think maybe it's buried somewhere in the grimoire or something that there may be other travelers or something. So
I wouldn't know. I don't make a habit of reading grimoire cards.
Right,
like,
but there's stuff in that world, much like there was stuff in the world of Halo that like hinted at much more. And I think Halo was the Halo games being primarily campaign driven, story driven sort of things. Are just better at capturing slices of that world than Destiny has been to date. And I think that if they can merge in what they got so right with Halo for all those years, with kind of the action and the dynamic kind of character building and some of the stuff that they've got with Destiny, like that's the promise that Destiny truly holds, right? Is like actually nailing and firing on all these cylinders. So if they're taking their time to actually make sure that the next game is that, then great. If they're taking their time because, oh shit, their pipeline is still fucked and it takes hours to open a level in an editor
Right.
and all this other crazy shit, and
Yeah.
they haven't actually corrected the root problems here.
Yeah. That does not bode well.
That seems like the sort of thing that you would start polishing up your resume and be like, okay, I can spend years working on this tire fire, or like go work on some other tire fire that'll at least
Sure.
be less crazy making.
Oh, I hope that's not what's going on. Really hope that game is good. But also, I bet this is it. Like the fact that the game of the year package this year, the $60 you get everything thing, is called Destiny: The Collection.
Oh,
like
that's a good
that
point.
sounds
That's a good
like
point.
here is everything that will ever exist for Destiny 1 in a collection.
Hey, I mean, don't worry. Like they're calling it Forza Horizon 3 Ultimate Edition, and it doesn't even come with the gameplay expansions.
Wait,
so
what?
that $100 package is
Are you
not
serious?
everything.
Oh no!
What
Wow.
does it? Is it just a bunch of cars?
It
or-
is, yes. It is the car pass and the VIP stuff. So I think the money works out. The $100 is still like, it lines up with what you're getting for what they're charging separately for all that sort of stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, you're getting like monthly car drops.
Okay. Like regular Forza style?
Regular
like car pack
yes,
stuff?
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Which they've done that in the past. And then the VIP membership is like a coin doubler and an icon next to your name. And I want to say some additional Rivals events. I forget what else they've actually done for VIP.
And you can
people.
play the game early.
Right, that was the other
Was
thing.
that the only way you could play on last Friday?
Yes,
was
if
to
you,
pay
if you
$100?
bought the $100 version, you got to start playing on Friday.
Okay.
Today is the day for
Just
the
regular.
regular versions of the game.
So what are in the expansion? Have they said what's in the
It
expansions?
is
that
two expansions that they're selling an expansion pass for, I believe, $35.
Okay.
And in the past, those have been rally oriented.
Oh,
in the previous Horizon games, it was like,
Okay.
hey, here's a pack of rally races.
It's not like new landmass, new
No.
area or anything?
Big Surf Island. No, no, I don't.
Ah.
I don't believe it was new land. In the previous
Motorcycles?
ones. Yeah.
Forza Horizon.
Forza
that'd be
bikes.
great.
And- No. Yeah. So it didn't even come with all of the Forza content, and they call that Ultimate Edition. So Destiny the Collection, all bets are off, man.
Did you guys talk Forza 3 or Forza Horizon 3 to death last week? or was
No,
it-
I mean, we talked a lot about it. It's out now. I'm still playing it. I have been continuing to play it on the PC and trying to wrap my head around some of that stuff. Now that the game is out and you have more and more people kind of banging on it, it just seems like it's incredibly poorly optimized.
On PC specifically?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Xbox One version runs great. Locked at 30, no problem.
Yeah, I can attest. I think it looks gorgeous on
the Xbox?
Yeah,
Okay,
and if you want to lock it at 30 on the PC, you can get there and crank it up and everything's fine. If
Yeah.
you want to unlock that frame rate or lock it at 60 or 140, depending on what monitor you got hooked up, it'll give you different options, I guess. But that's where it starts to get really dicey. Even, you turn that game down to low, turn it all off, every single little effect, it still has a little bit of trouble hitting
hitches,
60.
yeah.
So
Wow.
so they put out their specs a while ago for what the game was, and the CPU specs are kind of like our i7 3770 does not meet their recommended
Wow.
CPU.
That's kind of intense.
Yeah.
Wow.
So like their specs are kind of out of control for that in a way that says like, oh, like maybe instead of optimizing this, you just kind of just raise these specs and hope
Shoved
for
it
the
on
best. Or in a lot of cases, maybe they've listed the specs without telling you what frame rate. They suggested resolutions, but not whether you should go to 30 or 60
Yeah.
for that sort of stuff. So I'm not, people have been picking that game apart in terms of just like, hey, let's configure this, change this, which I spent hours before we went and recorded a quick look, like, turn this on, turn this off, turn this off, turn all this stuff off. Okay, go to advanced settings, turn all this shit off, and never found a stable 60.
That's rough.
Not only did you spend time, you spent hundreds of dollars. You got a new video card, didn't you?
Right. I wasn't going to bring it up.
Oh, sorry.
So I found myself in the other position this weekend of having a drive die, or in the process of dying. The drive where I kept most of my Plex library and all of my music.
Nice.
Just got to a point where sometimes it just wouldn't read. All the data was there. It wasn't losing data. But just sometimes it was like, nah, we're good. So I was like, okay, I need to go buy a hard drive. So I went and bought a 4 terabyte hard drive and just went and looked and see, like, you got any video cards over here or what?
Got any of that good stuff?
They totally did.
Yeah?
So I bought a 1080.
Well, you got the good stuff.
Yeah. So I went back, installed that. Didn't work immediately. And I was like, fuck, man, I don't want to deal with this shit. It just wouldn't. I rebooted and it was fine. Just it didn't want to display on both monitors for a while. And I was
Yeah,
like,
turn
okay.
the PC off first.
Okay.
Before
Before installing
yeah.
card? Oh,
Yeah.
well, shit. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
hot swapping's a thing, man. You
Yeah.
can totally do that.
How is it?
If you're fast enough.
Did you just play every game you could get your hands on?
I just played Doom.
Yeah.
Nice.
That shit locked at 60.
Yep.
Straight up.
Nice.
No problem. All the way turned up.
And then you locked it at 60 or just...
I locked it at 60.
Okay.
Yeah. I
Me as well,
Yeah,
yeah.
the monitor, it's not, gonna run. It's not gonna be too much meaningful past that. But
Yeah,
I
exactly.
could have definitely gotten more frames. But yeah, that's that's the first purchase in my build a PC process. So
Might as well go ahead and do it. It's not like those prices are going to go down.
exactly
anytime soon.
right. So I picked that thing up, and it's Founders Edition. So the guy at the store
It's got
was like
premium.
Like was treating it like I was buying a fucking like rare idol, and he was just like in awe. He was just like, yeah, I got one of these, man. Like he was just hushed tones about the video cards. Like,
Welcome to the club.
This is really gonna blow you away, man. And I was like, come on, Geek Squad, leave me alone, son. Like I'm just sell me the.
This is got a fucking white glove service.
Yeah. And
Did you get a free room in the hotel above the Best Buy?
Right,
Complimentary
yeah.
suite.
Yeah, it was on the arm. That one was on the arm right there. Yeah, it's a good ass video card.
Fast video card.
It's a fast fucking video card.
Yeah.
Still does not get me 60 frames a second in Forza Horizon 3.
That's crazy.
But that's the next step in the upgrade chain is to go buy the CPU, motherboard, like go actually build the computer.
Yep.
So that'll be me buying a CPU that I believe meets their ideal specs for Forza Horizon 3.
Is it just like the best CPU on the market?
Yeah.
Is there recommended?
Yeah.
What?
It's like, you should get a 1080 and one of these and some more RAM maybe. I don't know. And then run it at 3160 by 21, like whatever, I guess.
How did that thing like?
Those were the specs they put out. Recommended, ideal, not minimum.
Wait. Were there no minimum specs at all?
If you go to ForzaHorizon.net,
Yeah.
and you look at their post about, hey, here are the PC demos out also, and they list specs, it just said recommended
There is no minimum.
and ideal.
Wow.
You can run it on stuff way below that. They just don't recommend it.
It's like McDonald's only have medium, large, and extra large.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I got a venti CPU, and now everything's fine. But there's a Trenta out there, and I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Did you say you were talking about the settings in that thing a little bit? Did it seem anything like ReCore? Like, are they kind of locking developers into like, all right, here are the settings you actually have to provide?
It was a long list. They've got dynamic optimization in there by default, and then you can turn that off, and then go in there and be like, okay, I want to turn off FXAA and turn off MSAA, and I can, like all that sort of stuff.
So it feels like a PC game.
Yeah, it feels like a PC game.
Even being.
Some people have speculated that one of the reasons it was running poorly was due to EFS style encryption on the game's directory. That maybe the CPU was having to work extra hard to decrypt the files. Though it sounds like that got broken this morning.
Nice.
I don't know.
Nice.
If that's, but also other people were kind of running tests on it, saying no, that's totally not the problem. So I don't know. People are trying to deduce what happened. I guess that Forza Motorsport 6 Apex, the free Forza thing, when it initially came out, people were having some real performance problems with it, but they have since kind of gotten there with it. So one has to imagine that they will continue to optimize Forza Horizon 3.
Did you guys mess with that thing at all?
No, I never did.
Apex?
Yeah, Apex.
No.
Yeah.
I always meant to, and then just didn't. So yeah,
It's free to play.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe not the most exciting thing in the world, but
Like I already have Forza 6, and
Right.
here's this free subset of the Forza 6 feature set. Just didn't necessarily hold a lot of interest. Though they did when they took that out of beta relatively recently. That's when they added a bunch of wheel support and stuff like that. So that initially launched with no wheel support and all that
buy a
other
racing
stuff.
wheel?
So hell no, I'm not a lunatic.
Good call.
I bought some analog plungers for setting throttle. I don't know what I'm going to do with it.
There
but,
you go.
This figured it seemed like the thing to have.
I set a throttle this morning.
Nice.
what kind of throttle?
Yeah. Plane throttle.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Wow.
Were you in an airplane?
I was.
Wow.
Yeah. Actually, I was in 2 airplanes because I got in one and the flaps didn't work. Like you would put them down and then take your hand off and the flaps would go down and back up and down and back up. So you can't fly that plane.
Yeah, that seems
see
like
why.
be a problem.
Probably.
Yeah. You got to squawk it.
Okay. Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So you get in another plane and we flew that one. It's pretty good.
What kind of plane was it?
It's a Cessna 172.
Okay. All right. How many people does that seat?
I could do 4.
Okay. Okay.
I've only ever done it with 2.
Okay.
So everybody in this room could go for a
Yeah,
ride.
that's
Let's go.
right.
When are we going to do that, man?
Yeah.
We get-
I don't know. Months from now.
Damn it.
All right.
How
And then push Dan out with a parachute.
Yeah.
Oh, with a parachute.
Yeah. Because that's what he
That's what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
got a couple of
How he wanted to go.
It's always fun going through emails a week after I'm not here, so I can like kind of deduce what
what did
you
happen.
guys talked about, and there were definitely a couple of indignant emails about skydiving being harder than Dan seemed to think.
He's done it
I
before.
don't know what
Tandem.
I don't know exactly.
I don't know
what
if
he
he's
had to
done
say.
it by,
Yeah, I think he's done tandem
himself. I think he's just
Okay.
done tandem and made funny faces at a camera the way down. So
Okay.
I don't know.
I saw a video of a dude jump out of a Cessna, and then they recreated the scene from GoldenEye, where he catches the plane in a dive, gets in, and then takes off.
You can do that.
I mean, a guy stayed in the plane.
Yeah.
To make sure that it got where it needed to
Oh,
get to.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
in case
but-
it didn't
oh,
work.
obviously.
But he jumped out, and
Yeah.
then the pilot went into a dive,
Right.
and then the parachutist caught back up with the plane and got back inside.
Right.
That's pretty good.
It was awesome.
if you
Then I
don't-
saw another one where Travis Pastrana jumped out of a plane with no parachute, and
Yeah.
another guy came and gave him one. He put it on, and then it was okay.
That's intense.
Yeah, that seems like a needless risk.
Yeah, I'm
But sure.
I'm gonna stay in the
Yeah.
plane.
Yeah. What time do you have to be there to do it before work?
6 a.m.
Oh wow.
6 to 9.
Is that? I mean, obviously, I'm sure it's not in the city, is it?
No, it's in
Close by?
Oakland.
Oakland. Okay.
Yeah.
There's no law. You can fly whatever you want over there.
Yes.
Yep.
Man,
Call the
that's-
weather briefer.
Yeah.
Get your report.
What's
do some
the-
touch and goes.
Did you guys take it up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What's your like pre-flight kind of like the pre-flight
Do
check?
you have a notebook
process?
with you? That's just like,
so
okay, here's
it
pull
comes
this out.
when you go to dispatch. You get a notebook, or you get like a binder with the checklist in it for that plane, and then you go in and you go down the checklist. Well, first you do like an inspection, like you walk around it, and that takes like a half hour because you're looking at like, are all the rivets there?
Oh, yeah.
Like you move the ailerons and the elevators and stuff, and say, do these work? Are all the bolts in place? Because like these planes get used all the time, like that flap thing. Like that stuff just breaks.
Yeah.
Also, these planes, number one, are from like the 80s.
Mhm.
And number two, they're not very well made.
Great.
Yeah. Like they don't have to, well, I mean, they're functional and they're to a certain regulation, but like they don't have to be of a high luxury.
Okay.
Like,
sure.
everything
Yeah.
is built to the lowest standard so
Yeah.
that you can use it.
Yeah.
So like knobs fall off and like, yeah, you can still use it. The knob doesn't work. And
It's just a real bucket of bolts.
yeah, rickety.
Just-
and but like as soon as it gets airborne though, like it flies really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just when it's on the ground, you're like, really? This is
what we're
this
doing.
thing costs over $100,000.
Right,
I'm
yeah.
never
Okay.
coming back from this flight.
Yeah. But yeah, did that today.
Yeah, cool. That's kind of how I was feeling on that little prop plane flight I was talking about, because like there was no
Yeah.
cockpit in that thing, or I mean the cockpit was effectively joined with the passenger area. They seated like 8 people plus 2 pilots.
Okay. Oh,
Maybe-
puddle jumper. Nice.
Yeah, maybe it was more like 12 people. I think it was like 3 seats across and I think 4 rows.
Okay.
But yeah, like no separation between the, like you could just kind of like look over their shoulder and see what they're doing. It was super weird
Yeah. Those are fun.
and kind of terrifying.
You
but-
feel the wind a lot in little planes like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so there's a smaller airport near me that will fly to Seattle.
Okay.
And Alaska runs flights to Seattle, but I mean, these are bigger than either the planes you're talking about, but it's still a prop plane.
Sure.
And even in that thing, you feel the wind like
Yeah.
a lot more than you do on a regular flight. So I can only imagine.
Did you take one of those to PAX?
Not this year. The
Oh, okay.
timing just didn't work out. But most years, yeah,
Is
normally.
it the Petaluma Airport?
No, it's Santa Rosa,
Oh, okay.
the Snoopy Airport, Charles M. Schultz Airport.
Oh.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's not bad.
Yeah,
Is that just full on like walk out on the runway,
yeah, just 1,000%.
drag your suitcase out on the tarmac,
Yep.
throw it in?
Pretty much. No, they've. Well, you can actually, they've got a baggage check and all that other stuff inside the airport, but like, yeah, your carry-ons or whatever, you just like no one's checking bags.
The terminal that I use is like the executive terminal. It's like where private pilots, but also like if your basketball team needs to fly somewhere, that's where they go, and then they get on their private jet. So
Okay.
whenever like I walk through and then the doors open and it's tarmac, that's just the airport. And whenever I walk out there, it's like Saints Row. Like it opens and you get a different vehicle every time.
Yeah.
So sometimes
Rad.
there's like a Learjet there. Sometimes there's a medical helicopter. It's awesome. It's always
Yeah.
something different.
That's cool.
I was talking to someone down there last week who recommended this prop flight to us to get where we were going, who said there are still flights down there you can take in some parts of that country that are of the like they have to get it going variety, and you like run and jump on and grab it.
What?
Like or at least that it sounded like that was possibly still the case
I don't.
in some places.
Wow. Okay.
Like they're having to weigh stuff and like balance the plane out and
Oh,
stuff like that.
okay.
You know, it's like that kind of rickety. I don't know.
Start the engine, Chuck.
I don't know.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Anyway,
Yeah. But yeah, that's Mostly what I've been doing
Yeah.
is chipping away at Forza. Also, just over the weekend, didn't have a lot of great luck playing multiplayer in that game.
I was just gonna ask how that was. That's kind of the big draw for me is to just like hop in a party, with a bunch of dudes and just drive around.
Was that was as of the like kind of soft launch?
Yeah.
on Friday?
So it was out for people, but it was still taking a little too long to find games, and so I got into like like 3 modes. There's the kind of online free roam, but then there's also online adventure where you're kind of voting on what types of events you want to do next, and that'll have races and their kind of more playgroundy type goofy stuff. And then
drive through any billboards.
a lot of them, and then also there's the co-op campaign, which is like I think that's limited to 4. But you start matchmaking for one of those 3 things when you choose, and I was just choosing the wrong ones at the wrong times, and there were not enough players that decided to pay $100 for that thing or whatever, or they were all playing offline because the game just came out. But yeah, it's just I was not getting matched into a lot of games. I got into 2. I got into 2 games, one of which disbanded as soon as I joined, and then another one where I was able to actually race with a full 12 players, and it didn't run super great in terms of just like the.
I mean, when there's one game to join, it's probably not the greatest ping.
Yeah, exactly. But that's been my experience with it. Like every game I've gotten into so far where I've actually done any racing, where like the AI cars don't move right, like the AI traffic just doesn't seem like the physics feel a little different. They're
driving on the wrong side of the road.
Right, exactly. It's totally crazy. But then some of the other player cars are, at that point that's the ping stuff where you're like, oh, it's kind of they're slipping around the track and it doesn't look right and all that sort of stuff. So hopefully now that it's like out today for realsies, like that'll change. There's I think I started up a club, so when you get to the point in the game where you unlock clubs, you can join the Giant Bomb Club.
I think I will.
So it's got over 100 players in there now. But
you mentioned a campaign mode. Is there anything in particular that you're unlocking? Like, should I go through that first before I start doing multiplayer?
No, because it's that was a question I got this morning from someone was asking are the people that have been playing for days going to be way ahead? And it's they'll be higher XP level or something like that. But the cars are the cars. Sure, it's not like the crew. You're not unlocking brakes +2. You're just earning enough credits and then spending them how you choose, and you get plenty of credits. So unless you want to buy all of the most expensive cars in the game in the first 5 minutes, which you're not going to be able to do, you can pick and choose what types of cars you want. And if you find yourself online in an event where you don't currently have a car in your garage that fits that class, they will give you one.
Awesome. Okay.
For the purposes of that event, they'll be like, here's the car you can rent a car for the duration of this event and still play.
So you mentioned joining a club, and once you unlock that ability, how do you do that exactly?
There's a search function. I created one, so I'm not actually sure how you join one.
Gotcha.
But I believe there's a search functionality for all.
It's not like anything that's gated or anything like that. You've got to play X amount.
Yes, that is gated. So you will eventually unlock the ability to partake in the club stuff. And I want to say you have to be level 20. That stuff that like I said, people who played the game for a lot more hours than I did, once it hit wide release, that club that I created started filling up pretty fast. So I imagine
it seems to unlock pretty quick.
Yeah, it doesn't take too much to get there.
Gotcha.
And then once you're in that club, that'll start populating the world with people that are in that club. You'll have better leaderboards. So I actually do recommend getting in a club if you don't have a ton of friends that are playing the game, just because you'll see more people around the world to be like, I'm part of the club with that guy. That's why he's here. That's why his AI Drivatar is driving around my game right now.
You need to actually have someone to compare yourself against.
Exactly. It'll build leaderboards
rather than just a bunch of hyphens.
Totally right. And it'll do that when you go into rivals mode. It'll pick people for you if you don't have anyone already. But if you're in a club, that becomes more dynamic, and the stuff it'll pop up leaderboards for everything. Here's how many bonus boards you've knocked down. Here's how many roads you've driven on. Here's how many cars you've taken pictures of.
You're third in the speed trap.
Yeah. All those leaderboards will show you the next person up in your club. Or your friends list or something like that. It builds those pretty well. So I recommend getting into that once you do unlock it, if you decide to play the game, which despite what we're saying about the PC version being a little unoptimized, I would still recommend the game. Even if you only have a PC, I still think it's a quality ass racing game.
Better than 2. I know you guys talked about it a lot.
Yeah,
I don't want to get too deep into it. But,
I think it's way better than 2. Okay. And it's way better is maybe weird, but the feature set is very similar. But I think the way they kind of handle a lot of the multiplayer stuff from a matchmaking perspective. I think it's better in this game, but I think the open world is just better. It's just more fun to drive around.
It seems more vibrant and more varied.
Yeah, for sure. It's got good rainforests, good kind of sandy desert area, some beachfront stuff.
Yeah, more opportunities to drive a Lamborghini on the beach.
Yeah, exactly. So, like
and the fucking warthog.
Yeah.
Yeah, how is that? Like,
awesome.
is that remotely meaningful?
I mean,
or is it just a dumb tchotchke?
There are good off-road vehicles in that game already that you can kind of maybe do a little bit better with than the Warthog, but the Warthog handles surprisingly well. They wrote some lore for
the back
it.
wheels don't turn.
They wrote some lore for that.
What?
Yeah. They wrote a little bit of lore about how this is a variant of the Warthog specifically focused on speed to give up some of that four-wheel maneuverability.
Okay.
At least they're committed to their dumb gimmick.
I don't know if the lore is actually in the game or if it's just on some web page where they announced the Warthog was coming to the game, but yeah.
I wonder if like the tech can't support.
Oh, I'm sure.
Wheels.
I'm absolutely. That has to be it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because that's a crazy thing.
Because why would you ever in your car model?
Right.
Why would you ever make it so that the back wheels could turn?
No, you would never do that.
Wasn't that thing in one of the mainline Forzas too?
You could look at it.
Look at it.
Right. It was just like their weird car porn view.
Yeah.
But you couldn't do anything with it.
You couldn't actually drive it.
Okay.
Hey, is it on the PC though?
It is. Yeah.
The Warthog is. Okay. We were
but
having trouble.
I saw
finding
some
it,
people. So me playing it pre-release, a lot of stuff that when they roll out the PC version, I had already been playing it on Xbox One for like a week. They rolled out the PC version a couple of days before that Friday soft launch day.
Oh, okay.
And then at that point, like the VIP stuff wasn't working. Like all the add-on DLC stuff was not working at all.
Sure.
But I don't know. I've seen some people still saying that the Warthog is not in the PC version of the game.
Weird.
So they sent me a code. I got a message from like on my Xbox Live account saying, "You're a loyal Halo player. Here's the Warthog." So I think you would need to have gotten and redeemed that code.
Right.
But once I did that, and I believe I added it to my garage on the Xbox One, and then it showed up in my garage on the PC as well. So maybe there's some process, the part of that process that doesn't work if you don't have an Xbox One, but I don't know because I do. So, but I am able to drive the Warthog on the PC, and all the VIP stuff works on the PC. It's all been fine.
All
for
the
me.
Play Anywhere stuff's working out seamlessly.
Yeah. The Play Anywhere stuff is still
So it works pretty well.
sound. Yeah.
I like that stuff around the ReCore review that I.
It's been very
banged
convenient
out.
to be able to swap back and forth, and
Yeah.
and I think it's convenient for people that don't want to have to make that choice right now. If they're like, if they have a bad PC and they're thinking about getting it later, like the notion of just like, well, when I do get a better PC, I can play this game and have it look better than it does on this console I've got. Or
it's kind of a great time for that with the 1080s coming out and everything.
Yeah. It's just new round of graphics cards. Like it's never been a better time to play video games.
Indeed. I wonder if they're going to push this early release thing for Gears.
I think I want to say they
Have
are.
said
Yeah,
that
I think so,
already?
too.
If that's just going to be like the way forward for them with the stuff.
Yeah, I think it's a little. I don't know. Like, obviously, they want to get your money in pre-order and get you to buy the expanded version of the game. And I go back and forth on that. Like, I go back and forth on the whole Ultimate Edition not containing every bit of content thing as well. Because I look at it and go like, well, this is all stuff they've sold before. Like, even, the fucking treasure map and all this other shit that, like, I think is dumb, but okay, fine. Like, put it in there. People shouldn't buy the $3 treasure map, but do what thou wilt. So I look at it and go like, okay, well, like if you're a Forza super fan, you probably already know that. You probably already know that you want the game and the cars. And you're the sort of person that would care enough about wanting to play it early. So at some point, like you're getting all of those things. Like it turns some wheels on Microsoft's business that I'm sure that they like too. But, this is the sort of stuff that like people were going to buy that stuff anyway. Yeah. The only way this goes bad is if the game ends up being fucking terrible, which in this case it's not. But also I think that's a pretty safe bet. Like in a world where we say don't pre-order anything ever, the corollary to that is like, well, again, do what you want. It's not our money.
Sure.
If you want to go make those choices, go for it.
Yep.
But also, long-running series with, long, well-respected dev teams that have done well in the past and all that sort of stuff. You can look at it and go like, well, this is maybe a calculated risk at this point. And,
sure.
And make those decisions.
I don't know how they handle it with Gears though, because like they said months ago that all the the maps and stuff are going to be free in that game.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what you'll be paying another $40 for in that case. Like 18
skins.
18 shotgun skins.
I bought an energy drink that came with a pull tab that will get me some kind of skin in that game.
All right.
As well.
What kind of energy drink?
It's rocks.
Those are Rockstar. Okay.
Yeah, they have
All right.
custom cans with skulls on them
All right, I'm gonna look for those.
that I assume.
I want some skins.
I hope that the gun is just a fucking gigantic energy drink can with a chainsaw on it.
Yes.
Like they need to just make that.
Yep.
I would feel good about that.
I don't know. There's a pretty high bar after that Red Bull Sparrow in Destiny.
I never got that thing. I could never get the fucking
yeah.
last like energy race thing because the Sparrow handling such fucking
It was
shit.
kind of a pain in the
I
ass.
still have the quest. Still have the quest.
I think you can still do that one.
Yeah, probably. I don't know.
There's no branding on it though. It's just color. It's like it's just
God, what a waste.
it's blue and gray with a little bit of red.
Yeah.
It looks like it. It's really dumb.
That's got video game lineage, though. I feel like of a brand that like I'm gonna feel okay about being in a video game. Red Bull's like support for Wipeout XL.
Okay.
Back before you
Sure.
could even get Red Bull in this country.
Sure.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I'll give them that.
I feel good. I feel good about Red Bull's place in video games,
I could see that.
as misguided as that may be.
Sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, my hope was buying the 1080 would actually solve my Forza issues, but turns out it's going to be way more expensive than that.
It always is. It never stops.
But I was gonna buy all that stuff anyway.
Yep.
And now I think I'm gonna buy a Vive also.
Yeah.
I finally kind of started thinking about like, man, we've got this Vive here, but it's in the studio, which is not that convenient for fucking around with. So I got to the point where like, well, I could take all this shit home because it's not like anyone else here uses the Vive. And then I got to thinking like everyone wants to, you know, just who has time when we're not like setting up to record stuff in with the VR stuff. So, so then I got to thinking like after I build this PC, I might be time to bolt fucking weird cubes to my walls.
There you go. Move all the furniture out of that room.
No, so we have been doing a number on my living room lately.
Oh.
Got rid of my big L-shaped couch, or most of it. One bit of it is still there.
You're gonna do VR in your living room?
Yeah,
Man,
That's where I'm aiming
it's a
to
pretty
do
big
it.
living room. That's There's actual room space in there.
right. And now, so you haven't been in there in years, but now you can see the fireplace because they had that half of the couch is gone. So there's actually kind of a lot of room in there that I'm looking at going like, actually, I could fucking do it here. This totally works.
The living room.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yes.
we did the same. We got rid of like a ton of our bookshelves and pushed like the couch up against the wall. We've got space. Like we did it so Griffin could run around and practice walking and stuff. But as I look at it, I'm like, this is enough room for a Vive.
Got room
actually.
to cram a couple lighthouses in there.
Yeah.
Get down to it.
Yeah.
Think you'd get rid of your Rift?
No,
Keep-
might
Might as well keep both of them.
as well. I don't know.
It's always on, Jeff.
The Rift.
It's always on.
I unplugged it actually as part of the installing a new video card and all that other stuff. Was like, oh right, yeah, well, and I just kind of forgot to plug it back in. But
So it goes.
Drew. Yes.
Hello.
Hi.
What's going on? Besides flying actual real life airplanes.
Riding real life bicycles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I saw you tweet a couple times about that.
I was up in Petaluma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yes.
Rohnert Park.
Oh, Murder Park. How'd you fare?
Yeah. All right. I slept in a
E-section
field.
Okay. No. Yeah. That
Whoa.
sounds about right.
Wow.
Was the field near the Friedmans?
Maybe.
I used to live right behind that Friedmans.
Soccer.
Oh,
park,
okay. No. Okay. If
maybe?
it was an actual park, then no.
Okay.
Did you just go out and find your own field, or was it just like everybody in this
No, it
ride
was everyone in the
same?
field.
How many people were we talking?
Oh.
Sleeping in this field.
Gosh.
Did you guys have a rave out there?
It's
The
Couple
field that I
hundred, I
used to
guess?
live near, there were raves out there.
okay.
Yeah.
You could probably have. I've never been to a rave. You could probably have one in this field.
That guy got arrested.
A lot of
That
tents
one
in the
guy
way
that was
though.
having the rave.
No, not attached to the rave. He got arrested for a different reason.
Yeah, I rode from the Cow Palace
Yeah.
to
Okay.
Rohnert Park, which if you've never been around the Bay Area, Cow Palace is not what you think it is.
Yeah, I've never been there, and I've never quite been clear what it is.
It's kind of great. It's
It's
just
where wrestling used to be
Right.
before there were other stadiums. When it was just Candlestick Park and the Cow Palace.
Now
like-
it has like HempCon.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's
Okay.
like,
I
do you
saw
want to go
a
to the
minor league
really
hockey
big
game there.
I think the last thing I saw advertised at the Cow Palace was a lizard convention.
Yep, lizard conventions,
Oh,
night
yeah.
shows, hemp cons, like all that sort of. That's the Cow Palace now.
You walk inside, it looks like it has not changed since the 70s.
Nice.
Like
Okay.
all the colors of the walls and all the banners that they have hung up. Are
It's where all the big bands used to play when they came to town. It was like maybe the biggest venue. Now everyone goes to Shoreline Amphitheater, like down in Mountain View, wherever that is.
Yes.
So every big arena show is now at that arena if they're not going to play at like one of the sports stadiums or something. But yeah, the Cow Palace used to be like in the 80s. That was where all those events were, wrestling, all that shit.
Yeah. So we started there and then rode up for, I should mention, if the Bike MS ride is what I was doing for charity, for MS research. And Giant Bomb fans came out.
Yeah, in force, it sounds like.
In force, yeah, it was awesome. They've donated over $5,000 so far.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
which
intense.
is amazing.
That's
so
cool.
thank you to everybody who did that.
Guys.
So how many miles is that? That's like
was
50.
82.
Oh, so you went some weird way.
Yeah, we went up
I guess.
the
I guess.
one.
I guess you can't take the freeway because you're on bikes. Because when I drive from where I'm at to here, it's about 40 miles door to door.
Okay.
So yeah, Roner Park being about 8 miles north, 5 miles, yeah, something like that. But I guess once you're taking the one, all bets are off.
Yeah, 82 between 82 and 85 miles. Because we went Highway 1.
Right.
Which was great because like it's just this windy, curvy road that's going. Well, you have to go uphill a little bit, but then once you go downhill, like there were no cars in front of me or behind me, no bikers. I was just like I was flying down this hill. It was amazing. And I almost hit a deer.
Ooh.
I was about 50 feet, and it was on one of those windy tracks, and I was going really fast. And there's this steep hill right to the right of it. Like there's no shoulder to this 2-lane road.
Yep.
And about 50 feet ahead of me, I see this deer just like falling down the hill on his feet, but like stumbling, and then like landed in the road right in front of me. And I missed him by about 6 feet.
Shit.
And yeah, it's about a 6-pointer.
Whew, wow.
Nice.
Sounds like that could have gone real bad for you.
But yeah,
I
made it.
We were driving on the freeway on Sunday, and we were going by a golf course, and I didn't really notice that it was a golf course until I saw a white object like fly out of nowhere and bounce off the freeway about like probably less than 6, like maybe 5 feet from the hood of our car.
Whoa.
And it bounced like 20 feet in the air after it hit the freeway, and it was just like, oh man, if that had hit the windshield,
yeah,
Sunday would have gone very differently
that would
for
have
us.
been startling.
It's like, what fucking moron.
Yeah.
Check your slice, man.
We tried to hit the freeway. My roommate stole a bunch of golf balls from the driving range, and we were trying. We spent some nights trying to actually drive to the freeway that we could see from our backyard, but none of us were strong enough to actually get it out there. So
Somebody very much did.
yeah,
Like
Nice.
across the oncoming lanes on all the way across to our side. It was
Maybe John Daly was ripping them
yeah.
out there. I've always wanted to, like, life goal, hit golf balls off the back of a battleship
yeah,
Ooh.
That seems
or
like
an
it'd be-
aircraft carrier.
That seems like it'd be fun.
Or inside one of those cargo planes with the door that drops open off the back.
Okay,
All right.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, sure.
Probably want to do that over the ocean.
Well,
It's not your problem.
You
Once it's out of the plane, it's out of your life. Outside,
Yeah,
out of mine, right?
Legally, is that how that works?
I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to give you advice on that.
Your name's not on that golf
There's a
ball.
miniature golf course. There's a Scandia in Roner Park.
A what?
A Scandia. It's
Family Fun
Is that a-
Center?
Is that a chain?
Yeah.
Yes.
There's one
Chain of mini
one
golf?
out near Vacaville.
Huh.
They got an arcade too.
Yeah.
Go-kart track occasionally.
Bumper boats.
Yeah.
And batting cages at this one as well. But also the mini golf course is basically like there's 2 lanes of frontage road and then the freeway is right there. So you always get some kid who just doesn't fucking know what the fuck they're doing and they're just chipping balls onto the freeway. And, they put pretty high fences in there, but you can do it.
All right.
You can do it. If you're dedicated to fucking this shit up, you can get it done.
Sure.
Hey, it's real nice up there where you live, Jeff.
It's all right. Yeah, there are parts of it that are pretty okay.
Butter and eggs country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And wine.
Some nice farmland. Yeah.
Second day was we started in Roanoke Park and then rode a 40-mile loop back to it. Just through like wine country, and it was gorgeous.
Like actual out like Sonoma, Napa, like that kind of loop, or
I don't actually know where we went.
yeah.
But there was a part where we were just on this shaded, like paved bike path.
Mm-hmm.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah, there's some crazy shit out there. Like the addition of wine to that area made parts of it really nice, and then made parts of it super insufferable.
I knew that was the word you were going to use because I've been up there.
Yeah, it's
There's a lot of people that go antiquing around there now.
totally. Yeah, that's just this weekend there was a fucking like downtown Petaluma is like they've totally renovated and it's gone to fucking shit. It has like no cult. It's fucking people coming from Marin to fucking slowly buy coffee as slowly as they possibly can. and then walk around to like the 20,000 different antique shops that have taken over downtown.
Yeah.
And it's like they reduced on the boulevard in Petaluma. It used to be I believe 4 lanes total, and they have reduced it to 1 lane each way, and they've widened out the bike paths in a way that makes it fucking awful to drive downtown now.
Yeah.
And
It's
like local businesses there were a lot of local businesses that were like, oh, this is good, improved foot traffic, all this other stuff. But if your local business is not an antique shop or a fucking coffee place, you're fucked.
Sorry.
Get out, done.
Yep.
No,
Can you still make it to the Omelet Express?
the Amex up in Santa Rosa, yeah, you can get up there. You can get up there and see Don
Amex.
Taylor. You can do some things.
I think they had the Amex at the Cow Palace last year.
yeah. That's day after my wedding when we were on our way out of town. We stopped there. And that was the last time I was there.
Get a good omelet in you.
Don Taylor out there
good
leaning on a
road
parking
food.
meter, holding court, smoking. Like, yep, all right.
I saw him the one time I went there.
Yeah. Where else is he going to be?
Yeah, I know, right?
It's his restaurant.
That's true.
Yeah, no, it's. I like the area fine. It is really nice, but
As a bikeist, I try to be as nice as I can to the cars.
yeah, and I've had like zero trouble with people on bikes in
Like,
town around there.
what I don't understand is that,
everyone's
like,
been fine.
People on the bikes, like usually it's not the people in the car are not often people who are like do road biking, but like road bikers have always been in cars.
Right.
So that's what I don't understand.
Yeah, like this notion of just like, hey, like cars have blind spots. Like this is, like these people aren't actively trying to run you over. They literally can't see you because you are riding in a blind spot.
Yeah.
Like, I understand you're angry because you might die, and that's a very intense moment. But
Yes.
like, we all need to kind
it
of
just
let
takes,
go a
it
little
takes
bit.
both sides.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But I've not had any bike trouble in town around the area. It's always actually out on some of those back roads and stuff like that, where you're just like,
Yeah.
okay, you're riding up a hill, and now I'm trapped behind you going some slow, insane
Yeah.
speed.
And I would feel sorry for those cars whenever I was that guy, but like there's no shoulder sometimes.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Totally. I mean,
Sorry.
yeah, you gotta share the road, fucker. I don't know.
Do they do you the courtesy of giving you a lift back into town? Or do they make you ride back?
Oh yeah, I took a shuttle back.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, like room for the bikes, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly.
That makes sense.
How you feeling?
I actually found myself as I saw you kind of finishing day 1 and getting ready for day 2. I definitely was like, man, I wonder how they get back. Like if you had to have someone come get you and the bike, or if they would. I was like,
Yeah.
surely they must
It was a
provide.
shuttle.
Yeah.
And then they trucked up all my like camping gear
Oh, okay.
in a
That makes
separate
sense.
thing.
Right.
So all I had to do was like
Okay,
get myself
just
there.
ride.
And they had checkpoints along the way, every 10 or 15 miles with like free food
Wow.
and Gatorade.
All right.
Yeah, it was great.
Sounds pretty
It
well
seems like if
organized.
you've got a long ride, it doesn't like actually having food in your stomach at some point. You're like cramping up, going crazy. Like,
Well, you're
isn't it?
burning a lot of it.
Okay.
So like I think bananas with potassium, those help with cramping and
Yeah,
stuff.
yes.
But like I ate at least a couple. They had fruit snacks. I had a lot of those. They had little like sunflower seed butter dishes.
Oh yeah,
that
yeah.
peel off. Those were good. Bananas. And I would eat something at like every rest stop and drink like an entire thing of water.
Yeah.
And like never had to use the bathroom, so I was like burning everything off.
It was coming out of other places.
Exactly.
Gross. That's cool.
How do you
Yeah.
feel? little
Better than I
sore,
thought
or-
I was going
yeah.
to be.
Mm.
I think I managed the ibuprofen well.
Okay.
But like I don't know, it's different from like a big gym workout where you're like targeting specific muscles and over like trying to overreach your bounds. This is more about like staying within your limits and just lasting until
For as
the
long
end.
as long as you can.
Yeah. So as long as you're like managing that, it wasn't too bad.
Cool.
I slept really well that
Yeah,
first night
I
though.
bet.
Man. And because Giant Bomb fans are so awesome, they donated over if you hit 2,500, you get VIP status.
Nice.
So I got free beer.
Nice.
Thank you, Giant
That's
Bomb.
pretty awesome.
Yeah,
That's good stuff.
that works out real good.
Congratulations. That's
I still think I'm gonna buy a bike.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I gotta finish. Like, I'm gonna do this round of computer upgrades, and then there's bathroom renovation that has to be done before. That whole house is. Bathrooms are real bad.
It's
in
museum
that place.
quality.
But once I'm on the other side of that stuff, I think that's when I'm gonna finally pull the trigger on a bike.
I forgot how much I enjoyed being on a bike. even when like everything was sore, it was still fun to be able to just
Yeah.
cruise.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah,
I would
congrats.
recommend. I think if anyone else wanted to do a charity ride or something like that, like there's always those things around.
Yep.
Give it a shot because like you could. I'll bet you could do longer than you think
Yeah.
you can.
I'm sure like it's a huge sense of accomplishment. I'm sure.
Yeah,
when you get to the
definitely.
end of it,
And like
and you can feel good about it.
when they break it into chunks like that, it's like, oh well, I know there's a snack at this next in 10 miles, and that'll take me like not very long. So
Yeah.
give
Cool.
it a shot.
Welcome back,
Thank you.
Jason.
Yo.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
What is happening down there?
I beat God Eater.
Oh,
Well, I beat the main
okay.
component of God Eater.
The first one?
God Eater 2. Sorry.
Okay.
All right. So this is God Eater 2, and then the expansion Rage Burst. So I'm just into the expansion stuff right now. Ending was real dumb, but whatever. But now in this expansion stuff, holy fuck, this is getting like really, really fun and intense. And because they're throwing different types of enemies at you in different configurations, and they have different weaknesses and whatnot. And you really need to plan out your attacks. It's a fun game.
Yeah. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, I know. I know nobody's ever gonna really play this.
Yeah.
It's a hunting style game, but there's something in that game.
I
just
like
really, really
Cabela's?
enjoy. Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
They come with a light gun.
Big buck hunter.
No.
Forget it. I'm out.
All right. Yeah, I think that came in off.
Is that still what you're spending all your time on?
Yeah, a lot
much?
of time. Yeah, it was like 35 hours or something like that
Okay.
for the main story component stuff, and I've still got that much and more in the expansion. Yeah, I'm really surprised that I'm playing that much of it.
You also you played some of that new Killer Instinct mode, right?
I
Oh yeah, that
did.
came out.
Yeah.
I saw some people talking about it.
I spent a little bit of time with that. It seems like a mobile game. For a game that's already free to play,
Yeah.
this seems like the mode it was missing to fully make it look like
all the way.
like, hey, there's some loot you can buy now.
What's it
and, like,
called? Shadow Lords?
Shadow
Is that
Lords.
the thing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Shadow Lords. Yeah, I definitely got that mobile game vibe. There's a lot of trappings, that I see in like free to play mobile.
Like they've
games.
always had the dual currency thing.
Sure.
But like as someone
like
who
the real world
just
money
bought
and
the characters
earned
and
in-game
like
stuff.
I
Yep.
never had anything to spend that currency on.
Yeah,
So
either did
now
and
I guess I could spend it on
and
this
I
stuff.
had
but
I had a ton, and I was able to buy some costumes and stuff like that. Like they've got some specific ones for like Shadow Lord stuff. But yeah, I got that vibe right away with the free to play stuff. It's set up with like daily quests, and you get experience, and you get kind of some loot. That kind of
And it's like it's like this turn-based thing where you kind of have to play every character in your team as part of your turn. So it's not even really just like, hey, I'm going to focus on a character and get really good with this character. It seemed like a thing that kind of ran counter to how people play fighting games.
Right. They've got like HP and stuff, which will kind of tick down, so you can't, use that character continually. You will need to heal them and shit like that. And of course, you can buy those items.
to heal them?
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
Right, yeah.
So they're timers, effectively.
Yeah. So a lot of the stuff that you would see in other styles of mobile games. So yeah, teens have been monetized. Good job, I guess. But
All those teens out there playing Killer Instinct.
But I mean, I'll tell you what.
Number
like,
one on the
this
list.
This is not exactly the way I want to play a fighting game for sure. This is like this single player stuff that I'm like.
Yeah, like more
I
single
don't
player
really need
stuff
this.
and like
That's
a
cool.
little bit of writing around it and stuff because it does
Yeah.
have like little pieces of story in there.
Yeah, they wrote some
But-
stuff. They've got some weird like narration by Maximilian. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. He's big in the fighting game scene. He actually does some writing on the Killer Instinct stuff. But so that was a little funny and kind of cool. But I don't know if I'm going to keep going with that for sure.
it's still just like a totally optional side mode, though, right?
Yeah,
it's not like the
and
big
they do
focus of the
have-
season or something.
They do have an online mode for that, where you can fight other people, and there's like a specific items that you can get like called Guardians, which add different abilities. One's like you can do easy combo breakers or shit like that, and then you can bring all of these like boost items and these Guardians and stuff into like an online mode where you can just duke it out and just it's fucking Wild West out there, and maybe that's fun for some people. I don't know. Maybe that's cool.
I think that
for
like
me.
that stuff I think is kind of a cool idea.
It's a cool idea,
Like
yeah.
that it's the thing that like actually I think Destiny should maybe do a little bit more of, and I understand why they don't do it by default. But like if I spend all this time getting this gear, I want to use the gear.
Sure.
And use it against other players, and exploit the fact that I had more time. Ideally, it'd be more time. In a lot of these cases, it's I had more actual money to spend on boost items
probably.
or whatever like that. But in an ideal situation, it would be like, I spent all this time building up this character, and now I'm going to show you how fucking awesome it is and how good I am with it at the same time. Look at all this shit on me.
Sure.
And like WoW PvP or something like that, like you want to see some of that stuff.
But there's some definite game breaking stuff. This stuff is meant for you to beat the shit out of AI.
Right.
It's max out your meter for 15 seconds.
Free shadow boosts or moves for 15 seconds. Yeah,
totally.
And
I don't know how fun that would be, against somebody else. But
I mean, it would be fun occasionally or something like that. It wouldn't be something you would ever take seriously.
Sure.
Though I guess to actually boost up your character in that mode, you would probably have to take it pretty seriously. So maybe
with the wallets.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of interesting. I haven't seen that in any other fighting game. It's a super interesting way to add single player content, I guess. And if it does get its hooks in you, then all the better for them. But
yeah,
I'm out. Sorry.
Yeah, this sounded a lot cooler. On paper than it actually seems to be in execution.
Mm-hmm.
Or I think there's a cooler idea there if you actually were not a free to play game and we're just like,
Sure.
hey, here's a story mode. I guess that's like the Injustice 2 thing, right? I mean, you're gonna get loot drops and equip all that stuff on your character.
Or old, Soul Calibur or Soul Edge stuff.
Totally.
Yeah, like the adventure mode stuff. Yeah, I really like that and unlocking new stuff.
Yeah,
that way, but.
I think that stuff's fun.
But yeah,
primarily for a single player mode. But sometimes you might want to, hey, I'm going to take my boosted character in and we're going to fight against your boosted character and see how it goes. And I think that can be fun.
I can see that.
It's just not. It's not something you would ever.
I guess I'd like unlocking stuff for the
Yeah.
most part in
anything.
single player
I like
modes
unlocking.
like that.
I like unlocking this door.
But I'm unlocking
There's a beep
beeps.
in the sensor, and then you
swipe a
feel like-
card.
you feel like I've got access.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're the keymaster.
That's me.
But no, we're getting a lot of consumables and one-use items.
Yeah.
And it's like
Yeah,
And that just makes you want to hoard everything. And
exactly.
Never,
Yeah,
use
never-
it.
One-use
like,
items
use
are
it.
like the bane of video games' existence. I think they're real. They're nasty.
It's bad enough in games where you don't have to pay for them with real money.
Right. Yeah.
So you throw that in and it's just like, well, no, never mind.
Yeah, I think you can unlock costumes if you go through a bunch of story. Oh, it does add a bunch of character specific story modes, so you can actually so you got 3 members on your team, and whoever's in the main slot, you kind of play as their story, I think.
Oh, okay.
And then you'll have cutscenes and stuff interstitched, and you can unlock all of those movies. So that's how they're doing their story mode.
Playing through that thing, I didn't spend a ton of time with it. I kind of got out of the tutorial and then said, nah, I think I'm probably okay. But playing through that, I actually had what I think is a pretty awesome idea for a single player fighting game story mode, how to do it.
We should talk.
And
We should
I'm
talk
not
and-
going to say that
No,
here.
let's just make it.
Yeah.
Let's just do it.
Yeah.
You got that game maker key?
I do. Yeah, that humble bundle game maker key.
Let's
We're-
do it.
All right.
Get in there.
We'll start with
I hear
the
it's
mode.
easy.
Who cares? The fighting game, whatever. That'll come automatically, right?
There's no fighting in it. It's
Anyone
just
can make a good fighting game.
It's just a story mode for a fighter,
Yeah.
but no fighting game.
Yeah. We're going to the opposite of Capcom.
Yeah.
Did you play any ReCore? Did you talk about that last week? You were I know you were
Yeah,
starting to get into it.
Yeah, I bought it
when I
and
left.
bought it and installed it and haven't had the time.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I've had the time, but it's been fucking God Eater.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
get
fair.
it. So
I don't think I'm quite over that game. I reviewed it and immediately blew out of town and didn't think about it, and then got back into town and I was like, right, yeah, that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I noticed it was still installed on my PC, and I
Yeah.
actually had that moment of, oh yeah, right, that thing.
Did you just stop playing it after I
Yeah, I've not
told you how it ends?
I've just been too busy to get back to
yeah.
it, and there are still things I like about that game.
I can't wait to hear how it ends.
Yeah.
I just made him watch a YouTube video of the
Boy!
ending because wow.
It
wow.
ends. They wrapped that game the fuck up. It's just like, all right, this is it. We're out of content, so here's a
is what we
short
had.
video, and get back to the menu. Go. Literally, here's the menu again.
Don't actually address
Boom, menu.
anything
Bang.
really at all.
Bang. Main menu.
Some more stuff was coming out.
Kapow. Main menu.
It is very much. There are no credits.
Zap.
What?
Main menu.
There are no
there
credits.
are credits. They're just
Right.
separate. They're not.
You can access
They are
them.
not
You-
as
you-
part of the end game.
With
process.
like the ending plays and then dumps you right back to the title screen. It never plays those credits as part of the ending. It feels incredibly abrupt.
For ReCore.
But some stuff has come out since
Has it?
the review went up.
Yeah.
I didn't mention it because it kind of slipped my mind, but you start getting because all the crafting parts are keyed to the types of robot frames you have.
Yes.
There's canine parts, and
Yeah.
then how they do their twee little numbers spelling
Mhm.
out words, like the spider parts and ape parts.
Yeah.
You start getting parts at the end of the game that are T8-NK, for tank.
Mm-hmm.
You get a bunch of tank
Yeah.
category crafting parts.
Uh-huh.
And then it occurred to me, you have all those hunting challenges, like 1 per frame type.
Oh, okay.
There are 5 slots for those, but you only ever get 4 frames. And the 5th slot remains empty.
Did they forget to put it?
I don't know if they came out, like I lost track of this stuff. I don't know if they ever actually came out and said that it ever existed and didn't make it in or what. But people are going back and saying like, oh yeah, there's the tank in the early promotional art along with all your other buddies. And it was just like one more of those things with that game. Whereas
maybe if you complete every single hunting challenge, you get the tank.
Oh, and the other thing was, I don't know where people got this, but the idea is that the traversal ability on that thing would be the ability to like skirt over quicksand.
Oh man,
because there's a lot of quicksand in that game that blocks off areas that you can just never get to.
Weird.
That game is
baffling.
Man,
yeah,
it's so cool.
There are really cool things about it
for a little while, but anyway, that's very 3 weeks ago at this point. All right, I guess that's games everybody's been playing.
Yeah, anxious to get into Forza. Soon. Yeah.
It's your next thing.
Yep, that's
kind of a dry spell here. Gears, a couple weeks off.
Yeah. Gears is
not much. And then like October stuff starts happening.
Yeah,
near the end of the month, right? I mean, it seems like parts of October are not as busy as it seems like it could be.
I mean,
guess so. I mean, this would have been the week.
We're getting
Final
like
Fantasy.
Dragon Quest Builders.
That's coming out.
I want to say early October. Early October. I think we're back in it. So we got like another week.
Yeah.
Until
I mean, like we're not that far off from like Battlefield and then Titanfall and then Call of Duty. It's just like all the big.
Yeah, Titanfall's end of October, and I think Battlefield's the week after that.
Yeah, there's a bunch of big old shooters coming out.
Yeah,
because it's video games.
I want to play some Titanfall.
Yeah, that looks pretty good. Yeah. Let's take a quick break before we get into the rest of the show. Let's take a quick break. Drew, how's that coffee?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it from the separate to the right area, not from the front area, and not from the machine. Never go for the machine.
Yeah, no.
Those beans have been in there for decades.
We have robot coffee around here, but we also have human coffee.
Mm-hmm.
The machine coffee's been fine.
I mean, it's
know.
all right.
Like
it's okay.
I don't know. Maybe I just don't care about coffee enough.
It's coffee.
You feeling gassed up and ready to talk about some news?
Oh yeah, gassed especially.
Oh yeah. Let that music play out.
It's
all right,
music.
Do you like the smell of gas?
It is serious music. I'm sorry.
Do you like the smell of gas?
I love the smell of gas.
Like gasoline?
Then you would like flying because you get gas
all
all over yourself.
I had to go on a helicopter ride once as part of a video game event. And it was like we were on a shitty bus and it just smelled like gas.
Yeah.
And the best part of it was like we were flying, along the beach, and it was like looking out going like, oh, there's water out there. If I crane my head this way. This gas smells all right though.
Didn't you also fly in something approximating like a fighter plane for some other video game event?
Yes, I found the VHS tape for that. So maybe on the next game tape,
we have to watch that.
If we are sure that it will not eat the tape, we will maybe get that out there.
I make no guarantees.
We need a test tape to run through it.
Yep.
Okay, I've got
like
test tapes.
Home Alone
also.
2 or something.
No, I've got test tapes we can afford to lose.
Isn't there always a danger though?
I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also have a VCR. I don't know.
Oh, okay. I mean, if that one works, then
yeah.
Take that tape's life in your own hands.
It's the $1,000 VCR I bought because it matched the one we used to capture footage here at GameSpot, and I wanted to capture footage at home.
$1,000 VCR.
But then that would be probably the best one to use.
Yeah.
I think Jason just found one day.
I wonder if it's that. It couldn't possibly be that exact VCR.
No. It looks like
it's
consumer
real dusty.
level.
That's what it was. It was a totally consumer level. It was not some pro grade. It was
just
just
the
like,
one that's sitting over by Jason's desk. Have you seen that one?
Oh look, does the front of it fold down and have buttons?
No.
Okay.
No.
There was a VCR that just sat on Ryan McDonald's desk that he used to like capture.
Oh, is it that really rugged, like almost like?
No. It was just a big ass fucking expensive VCR.
Maybe I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about like their beta deck or something. Those things that are built like a tank.
No, it was not like some pro grade beta deck or anything like that. It was just
the one
like,
we got sitting over there was like from the early 2000s, like that kind of VCR. Okay. Everything's like overly large and plastic.
Then it's probably the second VCR that GameSpot used,
okay,
not the one that we used for those first few years.
What this looks like an off the shelf kind of solution.
Yeah. What were you doing with a fancy VCR?
It was just an SVHS VCR.
Okay.
It was just a nice VCR. Like it was the one that we used to capture footage here, or to and then the VCR was hooked up to the Mac, and then it went in that way. So in order to more easily capture footage at home, I bought the same VCR that we were using here.
No idea you guys use VCRs to capture that stuff.
I mean, there wasn't anything else
guess
to
so.
use.
Yeah.
So it had to be SVHS.
We did,
It wasn't, you know,
VCRs
97 or whatever.
when I was doing game testing.
Huh.
Yeah.
VHS.
Yeah.
And then we went to those 8mm.
Those
small
were digital,
decks,
I think, right? I think those things were actually doing digital stuff.
Yeah, I guess
that
actually
point-
it's probably his
Tapes.
Yeah.
Who the fuck knows?
Game tapes. I don't
Yeah.
know.
The video home system.
Mm-hmm.
Story number 1 and kind of only
Yeah.
from last week. I mean, some other stuff happened, but this was breaking as I was in and out of internet
Right.
in Central America.
Oh,
so
man.
you guys witnessed this happen in real time. But we got to talk about the Palmer Luckey Oculus stuff.
Oh, Jesus.
Let's recap it.
Okay.
For everyone who doesn't know.
What was like? I've read the articles.
That
since
Daily,
I got
so
back.
a Daily Beast article hit that was.
Yeah, I'm curious about like the sequence of events
So that
as it
was
was coming out.
it was the Daily Beast ran the story saying that Palmer Luckey had involved himself with this organization devoted to shit posting,
Meme magic.
meme magic.
Yes, effectively. I forget.
And revealing that he was one of the 3 people involved in the creation of this organization devoted to spreading that stuff,
Yeah.
or that he was the money man behind it.
I forget which type of nonprofit it was, but some kind of nonprofit organization devoted to shitting up the internet.
Yeah, which I think the internet shits itself up enough. The idea of like paying money for that is pretty crazy. But
and not just the internet. Like they purchased like a big billboard.
yes,
as well.
they got a billboard to try to bring the shit of the internet to the real world.
yes.
They had bought some stuff around.
As long as they don't sponsor an NASCAR.
right, yeah, that's next.
That'd be the last straw.
I mean, it was effectively an anti Hillary Clinton
Yes,
meme organization that was
meme organization.
Yes, right.
2016, y'all.
Largely being organized through like the primary pro Donald Trump subreddit.
Right, which that's where this probably starts to get like, okay, like yes, Palmer Luckey wants to fund that stuff, like whatever. It's his money, it's his politics, like that's fine. That this is America. The part where it goes into this subreddit that like is like kind of white supremacist and like anti-Semitic memes and like a lot of this stuff. That's where you just go like, well, wait a minute, what? You're putting money into that?
Yeah.
Like, what are you?
Yep.
What do you actually stand for at this point? Because that sounds like a very different thing. Maybe it's not that different. Than
I don't think it is.
than supporting a guy like Donald Trump.
Yes.
So
And, there were some other like very unsavory figures involved in this stuff,
right,
publicly.
yes.
So
for sure,
some real professional shitheads.
So it was just one of those things where it's like, just kind of like, okay, you're associating with these people that are like real, like into some fucking bad shit. And okay, where what is the deal with this? So that what on one hand, like it is what it is, and okay, he did his thing, and again, it's America,
Right.
He can do all
So
that.
this broke through the Daily Beast story.
Yes,
That's where the
Daily
reporting
Beast story
came from.
is where the reporting
Okay.
came from,
Okay.
and then
because there's a lot of he said, they said, I guess, going on here. Because
I mean, yeah, there is and there isn't.
Well, he eventually issued a statement.
Yeah.
Which was what, a few hours later? After this
many
report came
hours
out?
later.
Okay.
It was the sort of thing where there was like, okay, this is like late Friday. It got to be late Friday, and you're like, oh, okay. Well, of course they're waiting.
like late evening.
Yeah.
Like into the night. Like there are
like his
fevered meetings taking place
his
at Facebook.
statement hit while I was driving home.
Okay.
And his statement was issued on his personal Facebook. It
Yes,
was not
I saw
Facebook
that, yeah.
issuing this sort of stuff.
You can presume there were some tense conversations taking place at Facebook.
I would assume
throughout Friday.
Who can say? So a lot of people went on a lot of different directions for this sort of stuff. But as soon as this kind of hit, you had a lot of developers that were involved in developing VR games start to go like, wait a minute, like this is not something I want to be affiliated with.
Yeah, that was super.
You had a handful of developers start to pull away from the Oculus platform. Go like, oh well, we're out on the PlayStation VR, and now we're not coming to Oculus.
Yeah.
Or like the Soundstage developers saying that they were going to donate all their what was that you said?
I think,
donate their proceeds. To the
24 hours of their sales revenue would go toward the Clinton campaign.
So obviously this is politics. It's going to do its political thing. But there was also the video game aspect of this, where you had like, okay, this platform, this fledgling platform, this nascent industry, suddenly like kind of torn asunder by this sort of stuff, and developers making business decisions on the back of this sort of stuff, which is so it kind of coasted into our realm a little bit more that way, I think. And then and so you had like this statement from Palmer Luckey that hit his Facebook page that was like, hey, you know, I'm sorry this is having an impact on our business. Which is not okay.
Yes.
But more or less saying, you know, yep.
Yeah.
But also then denying that he was the Reddit account responsible for writing these posts when he had himself confirmed to the author of this Daily Beast thing, like then went and posted these emails going like, well, wait a minute, you wrote this stuff and I confirmed with you.
You totally told us this was you and now you're saying it's not.
And then like we asked for clarification, are you saying this is you? And you wrote back, yes. Like this is... So then you had, was it Brendan, is it Uribe?
I'm not sure how to pronounce his name.
Uribe?
But the guy who actually runs Oculus,
you know, kind of then,
from my understanding.
Then kind of backing up Palmer, but also saying like, he doesn't speak for all of it. Like doing the kind of the only thing you could do in that case is to try to distance yourself from...
But it's sort of just
dumb
the most
fucking idea.
It's sort of the most like milquetoast corporate response, like, you know, his views don't speak for those of Oculus.
And Jason Rubin was right there with something similar, and you know, it was like you saw him post his thing that was kind of like saying, like more or less saying, "Yep," but also saying like, "Hey, sorry, this is affecting our business," but also, yeah. And then there were people going like, "Oh, I'm glad I waited for you to say this." Like, well, wait a minute, what? This is not. He didn't apologize for the thing that actually got people.
Yeah.
Like this isn't about, if this was just about him funding some organization because he didn't like Hillary Clinton, because he also went out and said that he supported a libertarian candidate, which, you know, whatever. He, you know, if this was just like, hey, I want to fund this thing because I don't think Hillary Clinton's fit for the White House and I support this other direction, like that's fine. That's then okay, you do your thing. Like, you know, people can agree or disagree and whatever. It was specifically, I think, the part where it's like, okay, you're kind of running with this kind of vaguely might not be the right term, but this kind of like white nationalism sort of supremacy-esque thing where you're like, okay, like no, this is something else. This is kind of moving beyond this notion of like, we're just gonna make the magic real on the bring the memes to the people.
Thoroughly,
what a jolly good time.
Yeah,
like that
thoroughly crossed the Rubicon at that point.
Yeah, so like that sort of stuff is that's just ugly.
Yep.
No matter which party you support, but you know, I think a lot of stuff in this presidential race is ugly as shit, regardless.
So,
of where you stand on this stuff.
It was a repugnant time in American politics for sure.
I mean, you know, I've supported candidates on either side of things over my decades of being old enough to give a shit. And you know, every 4 years I kind of like take stock of my own personal values and how they've changed or not changed and kind of support accordingly. Like I'm the opposite of the fucking lockstep, like vote the party ticket type shit.
Sure.
But man, what a bummer. I mean, like in terms of just American politics, like the Palmer stuff, like is disappointing because you like to think that like someone wouldn't be like, did he get fooled into this shit? You want to believe like he's got to be smarter than this. Like this like put this amount of money into this thing that's like, dude, don't what are you doing?
What are you doing? Indeed.
But I don't know. Like I feel like the political discourse in this country is at its best when there are two like candidates that have like policies and you can look at them and try to choose between the actual policies and that sort of stuff. And right now it just seems so one-sided on that stuff that it's like, man, like whatever. The Republican Party's in like shambles. It's like crazy to watch. That's neither here nor there. Anyway, you know, like that stuff is real. It's real fucking wild out there all around the world.
Yeah.
This intersected with video games in a way that was like impacting, you know, like people that own a Rift, you know, now being theoretically impacted if people pull out of
everyone who works for Oculus.
Everyone works for Oculus.
Every developer that was planning on coming out on the Oculus.
Especially because the wording on a lot of the statements from developers who were pulling support was of the nature of like, until the situation is resolved with, or until he steps down. It wasn't just like, apologize and we'll think about it again. It was like literally like dismiss him or we're not supporting your platform.
And I think that's something that, you know, I'm you know, like that guy has been kind of at the forefront of kind of out there talking in a way that is very unmuzzled, uncontrolled, and then went very quiet for a long time, almost as if someone internally got to him and said like, all right, we're not going to let Palmer post to Reddit anymore because this is not helping.
It already wasn't helping.
It already wasn't helping.
Even when their biggest problems were like they couldn't fulfill their pre-orders,
Right,
and there were lens problems or whatever.
So at some point, like if you think about it, like a lot of his value, I think, is tied up in the notion that he is this, he's this young inventor that is at the forefront of these new developments, and he can be a great spokesperson. What a great story! Put him on the cover of the magazine, all this other stuff.
They certainly propped him up as the quirky barefoot like wunderkind type kid, but is not fulfilling that role after this by any means ever again.
After this, I think it's really hard to put him out there in that role without it, without a lot of this stuff coming back up. So I like that's the thing I wonder, like just from the like raw ass business perspective of just like, are they just gonna like let him work out whatever his contract was from the sale, and then it's like, all right, see you, kid. Or how that's going to go for Facebook. That stuff's
who knows what is going on within like every level of that company over this. Like I don't know if they feel like they've kind of done their due diligence and they're just going to sort of let it go at this point.
I mean, I don't know what you can do because he's not breaking the law.
No, certainly not.
He's certainly not.
Acting, but this is like you easily argue that this is significantly harmful to the business.
Yeah.
And especially,
I mean, there's material damage done when companies pull out, or they go with a competing platform or something like that.
And you factor in that like Mark Zuckerberg has been incredibly publicly critical of the Trump campaign, and like who knows what types of arguments or discussions are taking place. Continuing to take place.
I'm sure that on some level that stuff is going to work its way through its system and it'll do what it does. But I think it's one of those things where I'm left disappointed, not necessarily by like that guy's personal politics, but more that like this course of action would be viewed as like this is the way I want to express my my politics. This is how I want to
spend my money,
spend my influence, all this sort of stuff. That's if he wanted to support Trump as a candidate, there are certainly plenty of ways to do that without having to associate with some real nasty stuff.
Yes.
Or just more fun things to do. Like I would buy a tiger or like a sensory deprivation.
There you
chamber.
go. The Trump tigers. We bought 20 tigers. They're all for Trump.
Do dumb shit with my money, not like.
Oh, he did dumb.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know what I mean.
And a small enough amount of it that I'm sure at some point, this was just like this could have been just some frivolous thing for that guy where he's just like, oh yeah, sure, I don't know. Some friend of mine said it was a cool idea. It seemed like all right. Like who knows? Who knows? It's people can express themselves a lot of different ways in this country.
And everyone else is perfectly within their rights to be as repulsed by those opinions as they want.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's a weird one. It's a real weird one. It's like, man.
I'm super curious to see if we've heard the end of it or not in terms of his continued role there.
We'll see.
And how they continue to smooth this over because he hasn't tweeted since that Facebook thing. Like his.
But also like he put up his kind of apology, and I think there were a good number of people that were like, oh, okay, good, he said something.
Really? Did people? I didn't.
I saw some.
I feel like I saw people who took it as the kind of non-apology that it is, and I saw people angry that he like buckled in any way whatsoever. Those seem to be the two extremes.
I guess. Well, there's a lot of extremes. This year, all over the place, right?
It sucks that this is all tainted by these actions. There's good people and a solid product now getting wrapped up in this sort of stuff as a result of those actions, and that's also unfortunate.
Yes.
I guess is out on the rift.
I guess we'll see where it goes from here, if anywhere.
Yeah.
Or maybe they'll just kind of quietly.
Yeah, like maybe this thing just goes away. I mean,
like,
maybe on some level, everyone's just like, just hold out for a couple. The election will be over.
Right.
No one will remember. This will be, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who can say? That was kind of the big thing that happened, from what I can tell.
I don't know.
I mean, some stuff happened. There's some other stuff.
You got Street Fighter?
Yeah.
Did you install it on your PC?
Nope. Good. Now I never will.
And I don't think I will either.
All right, fine. I'll skip. That was literally the last thing on this list, but I'll just go ahead and skip to it.
Since that was the one that was I think that was kind of happening around the same time, and there was this moment of like, man, everything's on fire. What the fuck is even going on?
Yeah.
So what they rolled out a patch trying to stop people from cheating in Street Fighter V on the PC, but it was cheating to like earn free fight money to unlock colors and costumes.
I
right?
cheated in Street Fighter V.
Hell yeah, you did.
Because those fucking survival modes suck,
What did
and
you-
I
how
just
did-
want additional colors. That's
How
it's
did
fine.
you cheat?
And yeah, I cheated.
How'd you do it?
I used cheat engine and just like 1-round fights, like
Yeah.
and then you
Okay.
unlock all the colors. And as a side effect, you get a bunch of fight money, and that's kind of what's they're
Okay,
really
so
upset about.
you can buy stuff that you would otherwise pay real money for. So that's
and
where
that's the shitty part of it.
yeah.
But I just wanted the colors. But
is PC your main platform for that game?
yeah, it runs better. But
Not no
I
more.
don't think I'm gonna install it. So
So-
yeah, what
yeah,
happened
like-
is they introduced like a driver to kind of seek out cheat engine style stuff. It was poorly implemented. And
say that.
Yeah, and it allowed like other applications through this driver to get like kernel access.
Yeah,
to
it
your
was
fucking
it was
computer.
just a wide open backdoor,
Yep.
massive security hole.
Capcom.sys installed to your
dumb
system folder.
shit.
It was basically a rootkit.
That's amazing.
I don't know if there were any like working models of like people actually exploiting it, but
Yeah.
since basically it meant it so every time you ran the game, you had to give it elevated privileges
Right.
on the PC, and that's something that games should never do.
No.
So
I understand wanting to protect your product, but
Yeah.
Well,
So they quickly, maybe not quickly, but it was the same
wasn't
day or was it like
immediate.
the next day or it
This-
took them a little bit.
the story on Kotaku I'm looking at is from Saturday, which was the okay.
I think by Friday they had started. They had
yes.
already come out and said we are rolling this back.
Yeah, there's a tweet from at Street Fighter on the like late on the 23rd saying that they are rolling out a security
So yeah, they
fix of sorts, but
so they rolled out a fix, but I don't think that actually removed the file from your system directory.
yeah, but it sounds like according to them they just rolled back to the previous version of the game but left all the content in place.
Right. Yes.
So maybe it's not loading that driver
So
anymore.
yeah, I guess theoretically, but I think the driver would still be present on your system, which other things could potentially exploit.
Maybe.
I don't know about that for sure, but yeah. So they did end up fixing this in relatively short order once the shit started. Once everyone realized what had actually happened, I think it picked up enough steam fast enough to where they're like, oh fuck this, and pulled the plug on that end of it.
real bad look.
Yeah,
Real
like
bad
it's
look.
not exactly been the smoothest year for Street Fighter V.
I ended up
so-
just uninstalling Street Fighter V.
I did too.
And
And I don't know if I'm gonna install it again.
wow.
I don't know.
Man.
On PC anyway.
This was the update that also brought Yuri in, correct?
Yes.
Did you mess with him at all, or was it just like,
Yeah, he seems great.
This thing's on fire. I'm just getting rid of it.
No, he seems great. I played a little bit on the PS4 version. Yeah, he seems great.
Okay.
Seen a lot of crazy combo videos with him. He seems
yeah,
very
the
technical
reflector seems really like it can lead to some really wild shit.
and He seems pretty awesome. I wish I could play the game more. I really do.
Yeah.
But
This patch also like weirdly introduced a bunch of stage-specific KO animations, which I just sat and watched a YouTube cut of, and those
yeah,
are pretty
that's
fun.
kind of cool. Yeah,
That was something that like I think the first time they started showing the game off, you started seeing some of those, and you're like, oh man, this game is going to be full of like awesome, colorful animation
Yeah,
moments
just a lot
like
of
that.
personality and stuff.
And then there were
and
like two or
Yeah.
one or something. So
Yeah.
exactly.
it's cool that they're
on
actually
like one stage or whatever.
Yeah.
and now there's a bunch more.
yeah,
So that's cool.
Yeah, this
Are they
this
context specific or just stage specific?
Context.
it looks like
it'll be like if you like, hey, you end the fight on a certain side of the
Yeah,
stage,
from
it
what-
can knock you into the bus. Or
from what I could tell, like every maybe not every stage, but the ones they showed, like each end of the stage had a different animation.
Okay.
you end up with a noodle bowl on your head.
Yeah, such a giant hot dog. Or
Did I make
something.
it into the final?
That's funny.
I don't think I've ever
That's
actually
funny.
seen that since the game shipped. That was in one of those.
Oh, yeah,
first,
that was the
first
big one.
fights
That
or
was the
whatever.
one
It
they
was like
showed, right?
the left side of that stage. You knock them in, they get the noodle ball on the head, and then it was like it's stuck on their head for the next round, right?
I want to say yeah,
But I don't think I've seen that once since the game.
I've definitely seen the stage transition, as it were, getting
Yeah.
knocked into the other room, but I don't remember the noodle bowl staying on.
We have to go back and watch the trailer and make sure the noodle bowl does stay on. But I feel like it did.
I think so
But
too.
but you saw the transition at least in the shipping game.
yeah,
Okay, I
Yeah.
feel like I just never encountered it, and I always wondered if maybe the noodles were too much.
it could be, but yeah, noodles are back in. Noodles are back.
Finally,
Okay. All
Street
right.
Fighter V is saved.
It's complete now.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, they fixed it pretty quickly, but not a good look
Like in yeah.
for a game that has been incredibly troubled.
I was gonna say, yeah, like on its own, you're like, okay, well, that's a dumb, fucked up thing to do, but hey, you reverted it, and it happens when you look at it in the context of the entirety of Street Fighter V. You're just like, man, these guys cannot catch a fucking break every step of the way.
Is Urian the last
Yeah,
season
Yeah.
1 character?
yeah.
There were 6 total, right?
Yep.
Wow. That feels like that just kind of happened. Like I feel like last time I thought about that, they still had like they were on number 2 or something. And just, anyway.
Yeah, that shit
number 2
happens.
indeed.
Yeah, when you're not watching it, I guess.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Most
characters.
people.
Yeah,
aren't
they
paying attention
delayed
to
it.
while.
They delayed a lot of them here and there, but they got
There was some bullshit going on. Yeah,
Yeah.
with dates and stuff.
Yeah, I remember some of that stuff.
That stuff got shifted around.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I have a sort of off-topic question.
Yeah.
When they introduce a character into a fighting game, it's not like everyone else, all the other characters change, right?
No,
Like,
no.
Not a lot of
So there's
hit damages or nothing gets tweaked.
There's balance updates. That
but
will
it's not
happen
like
in
severe,
between.
right?
Not typically. No.
So does that mean that they have had, like, I sort of assume that fighting game balance is like rock, paper, scissors, but extrapolated out like 16 ways. Is that how it works?
sort of, but like
yeah, kind of.
Yeah, but when
And do
they're-
you have to have then of those 16 places spots open? Because like
No, so it's less about that and more about the idea of as they build the new character, they have to build it with the rest of the roster in mind,
okay,
and vice versa. So every character has to be balanced against every other character.
And make sure that his moveset like fits in with the systems in place.
but do they have that guy in mind when they're creating the original people?
Not
Not
necessarily.
always, but to account for that, they're kind of like, okay, well, we've made this move too powerful against these 3 characters. We either need to be okay with that, and that just becomes an advantage that character has, and we give it a weakness elsewhere to account for it, or we do something else. There are a lot of different ways, I think, to solve that that don't require you to necessarily touch every single character. But then, yeah, like over time, they touch characters a lot.
Is the way that you're thinking of like characters, like a character is a rock, another character is paper. It's less that, and like each character has rock, paper, scissors in their arsenal.
Okay,
They all have strengths and weaknesses, right?
Yeah.
Also, like balance patches for fighting games is still a pretty recent phenomenon, right?
I mean, last generation. I mean,
I guess
a
they
lot of
started-
games
yeah.
got balance changes, but
Yeah.
it was really only last generation that started happening. That was like when
Well, but they've
NetherRealm
been-
started
I
doing.
guess so.
they've
Yeah,
been issuing
sure.
different versions of fighting
Right,
games.
exactly.
Yeah, I guess they
forever.
would do that then. Yeah,
Yeah.
but like the idea of like rolling balance in stuff like RTSs
Right.
seemed really foreign in fighting. Like fighting game balance was always sort of set in stone for that particular
I
game.
feel like it was Injustice that was the first one that had like the ability to take like you didn't have to like issue a full on system level patch to change the balance.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like
Or they can
kind of
tweak
like a
values
hot-
So
on
it,
their
so it
end.
became
Like
a lot
kind of a hot
easier
fix.
for them to hot fix
Yeah.
balance and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Whereas before it would be like, okay,
Yeah.
we have to cert this thing. So it was still faster than waiting for Champion Edition, but slower than where we're at these days.
I imagine a lot of that's governed by just sheer data, right? Of
Yep.
like how many times have these two characters fought each other, and what's the percentage, right?
Yeah.
Like I wonder.
Yeah, I think a lot.
I mean, there's probably a ton of other metrics, but I wonder, like, if when it comes down to it, the game designers only take that into consideration.
I think no. I think different designers have different approaches to balance and characters and that sort of stuff. Where you've got some people that like, kind of climbing that ladder as a weak character against a strong character is fun in its own way. It's not about making sure that every single character is
strictly
like exactly
5 versus 5 balance.
Yeah.
It's there's going to be fluctuation in
You're gonna have tiers. That's why tiers exist. That's why they go like,
right.
okay, this character is
Although they the developers are not like setting out to make characters like tier specific, like this is going to be our S tier character or anything like that. It just kind
they're
of
not.
happens that
Okay.
way.
Yeah, like I'm sure they want as balanced a game as they can get, right?
Yeah. And
I feel like at some point, well, I guess actually I don't know what the tiers are, but I feel like it's at some point someone sits down and goes, Scorpion should be good. Scorpion should be better.
you're probably right. Probably right.
I thought it was
Somebody that carries
interesting
a lot of weight.
Yeah.
when Overwatch came out and people were like, X is more powerful, and then Blizzard's being like, you just don't know.
The
People
counter
haven't
to
figured
that.
out the counters
people,
yet.
it took a while to find all the Bastion counters.
Like I wonder
basically.
if they get a lot of data back and it's telling them like, yeah, Bastion needs to be nerfed, and they're like, no.
Yeah.
Like,
I think,
what is
I think
that
there are-
judgment call like?
Yeah, I feel like that's probably exactly how it happens. Especially like you probably see a lot of people like complaining the way they were complaining about a Bastion, stuff like that. Like that definitely happens in fighting games, right? I mean, that's
Oh yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
that's definitely part of that.
Yeah, you'll
process.
find characters, that people think are, completely overpowered, day one, and then you'll find tech to, kind of counterbalance that
Yeah,
stuff.
it's like,
same thing
wait,
with, like,
we
Bastion
can
or
totally
something
handle
like
that with this character because we just weren't doing this to counter this. And
So, I mean, there's a lot of playtesting that goes on, and balancing, prior to release. But as soon as it's, put out there, like that's when the real testing goes on. I think
it's why it's why a lot of like NetherRealm does it, but a lot of companies started bringing in pros to kind of bang on the game near the end.
which was
betas?
super smart.
Yeah, or in betas and stuff like that. But yeah, they're kind of bringing people in and going like, look, if anyone's going to find this shit, it's going to be you guys. Get in here and knock it out. So yeah, I don't know. I think that stuff's gotten a lot better, and they're able to react to it a lot faster when they do find something they want to change. So yeah,
Cool.
For me, actually, the thing with balance that like I didn't realize originally through like the Street Fighter 2 days or anything like that, because I just wasn't paying close enough attention, was the notion that not all life meters are the same.
Yeah,
The
a lot of that
idea
stuff
that
is
like
under
some
the
of these
hood.
characters actually have different numbers of
wait,
hit points.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Whoa.
sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
So like
It's why
Akuma
it's why
have
Akuma
more-
gets hit harder
right.
than other characters. It's not like it's just
Huh.
fewer points there,
Huh.
but the meter's the same length.
Yeah.
So what is constant?
Nothing. What has to be constant? Nothing has to be constant. That's how you balance it.
Speed of light. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even that.
What's constant is fucking low medium kick into fireball.
That should be
That's
a
it.
constant.
If that's not in your Street Fighter game, keep working.
Go back to
Jumping.
the arcade kid.
Jumping. God, what is the weak punch?
Jab.
Jab. Short kick.
Short. Was it short, medium, roundhouse?
Jab, strong,
Jab,
fierce.
strong, fierce.
Jab. Okay.
Short.
Short me.
I
Okay.
hate those.
I know, yeah, I fucking- I
stand
cannot-
those terms for the
It's
button.
been
Really?
20,
I interchange them all
20
the time.
what,
I don't know what it
24
is.
years or something.
Yeah.
I still can't keep those things straight.
I guess like I probably still use fierce
Okay.
as a term for.
Yeah, because I
But-
hear people do fierce punch and fierce kick as well,
Mhm.
which is super strange.
But I'm all light, medium.
light,
I'm
light, medium, heavy. Like it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's easy to remember. It's
yeah.
self-evident what those
Or if
things
you're
mean.
fucking
Like-
writing a fact, it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
No,
Yeah.
stop that. Stop that.
Down, forward,
Don't
3.
do that.
Medium, large, extra large.
Not that I've ever gotten deep into the Street Fighter community, but like the insistence on using those Capcom specific names for everything, it's just like like I can't.
That carries back from like the arcade days.
Yeah, I know.
Like
I know.
that was
Well, I guess at that point
Just
you're
label on the
literally
buttons.
looking down at
Yeah.
the buttons, and you need it to be consistent. So
Yeah.
that makes more sense.
Right.
But it's time to move on.
yeah, I think so too.
Time to standardize. Blizzard is standardizing the name of its online platform
Yeah.
by ditching the BattleNet name.
What a horrible idea.
Like, what?
It's the best name of the
It's
business.
So weird. They already got the domain and everything.
Yeah.
No, not that they will be
See
getting
if-
rid of it. I'm
see
sure
if we can buy
but-
it from them.
Oh, we should.
I want to be Battle.net.
Yeah, let's become BattleNet.
It's for rat battles now, though.
All right. Okay. So that's a business idea with some legs.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing. Like they give an explanation for it, but
What is it?
their explanation is effectively like, we don't think we need it anymore. Like,
What's it called now?
Just Blizzard.
yeah,
Blizzard?
they're transitioning to like
Hit the matchmaking button?
The actual quote. We'll just be referring to it as Blizzard Tech instead, but that's a little t, like a lowercase t. It's not like Blizzard Tech is the new name or something. It's just like
Yeah.
they mention Blizzard Streaming and Blizzard Voice, which I guess have been rolled into that
right.
client of theirs.
And they very plainly labeled them as such.
Yeah.
And at some point, they talk about the BattleNet launcher, and it still references that in the current client, but it didn't install. And I feel like it used to do this. I could be wrong. I feel like it used to install a shortcut to where I just type in battle.net and launch that launcher.
Yeah, I think that's
The last time I installed Overwatch, it did not.
Oh, really?
I have to launch Overwatch,
Oh.
and then it just launches the BattleNet the client.
and then immediately launches the game.
No, it doesn't even
you
launch the
still have
game.
to click a button. To,
Yeah.
weird.
It's just like, so for me to launch that launcher, I
Yeah.
type in Overwatch.
huh.
and then do
or-
all your other games update from there and stuff?
Yeah, it still contains all the other games. It's still
Okay.
the BattleNet
It's like
launcher.
it's like a Blizzard launcher.
I guess if someone's coming to a Blizzard game having never heard of BattleNet,
they still have battle tags, though, right? That was their term for the
yes.
names.
The
so
little-
does that
the
become
little-
your Blizzard
Yeah,
tag?
the little pound sign
Right.
number thing.
I mean,
at the end.
I'm sure
there
that
could be brand confusion.
Yeah, but I wonder if it just becomes if they just start calling it Blizzard tag.
Sure. I guess.
Or
I
your
don't know.
Blizzard Battle Tag. Who knows?
Yeah.
This
Fierce
just
net.
this seems like a weirdly like kind of needless step to take, but
I wonder if it was just like they looked at some chart that said like recognition of the Blizzard name has dropped X%.
Yeah.
Oh fuck. Well, let's rebrand some stuff Blizzard to make sure that that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Get Dairy Queen on the phone.
All right. Sue them and sue them.
I don't know. I see a lot of people talking about Legion on my Twitter feed.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of people are playing that thing. So
League of Legends.
I guess World of Warcraft's still big. I don't know.
At the Bill Graham Civic Auditorium.
Right. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I passed it today.
Yeah. That sign's been up. They've been up on the marquee for like a month.
Yep.
It was like, come see this jam band or League of Legends.
Right.
Like,
well,
or the Apple event that was also there.
I was pondering maybe just skipping this esports story, but you started talking about esports, so now I guess we should mention it.
Please.
The Philadelphia 76ers bought a couple of esports teams.
Yeah.
What?
Did you see this?
Yeah, the Sixers bought, and then what is it? There's a joint, like Team Liquid was bought by a company that's like a joint venture from the owner of the Warriors
I didn't
and
see
the
that.
owner of the Wizards.
Huh. Wow.
Axiomatic.
Weird.
I think
I
is
had
the name of
not
the
heard about that,
company.
huh? But the 76ers got Team Dignitas, which is like a super well-known name.
Okay.
What did
and,
they esport?
like all kinds of stuff.
Oh.
They have Dota team. They were in StarCraft, I believe.
It's really weird to
think
me. I
they're-
guess there's like at some point there's shared learnings and sunk costs that make sense for you to support multiple sports. It's still really strange to me that like there are these esports teams that field teams for
Well, I
different
mean,
you're
when
gonna-
you think of it as a business at the top,
right.
You get sponsors.
yes,
well,
that-
you could go.
That's my problem is I'm thinking about it as actual sports
Yeah,
and
no.
not just fucking cold ass
It's just
business.
marketing. Yeah.
Where one team brings in the money and sponsorship
Right.
that pays for all the other teams.
The team is actually the management is the actual company there.
Right.
The players are the employees to some extent. Is Dignitas in fighting games?
What?
I don't know. You
I
keep
don't
up.
think
You keep
so.
up with the pro scene, right?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, yeah.
Like Liquid has players, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Team Liquid and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. If they do, I'm not familiar with their players.
The other half of this is Team Apex, which is, I guess, just a league team that they also bought and are merging them both under the Dignitas name. Like, there's not a whole lot of other information about it, but like professional sports getting into
like
to
Rick
esports.
Fox has his team. He's an ex NBA player. Shaq, I think, has his hands in a team.
Mhm.
At some point, maybe it's just a hot new investment. Like that's the same reason you might launch a site devoted to esports coverage.
Sure.
At some point, you just go like, this might be a way to make money.
This might be hot.
This might be a hot thing.
This might be the ground floor for us to get in on.
Yeah. So
Before it explodes.
I mean, of course, like companies are going to make investments, and
Yeah.
a sports team probably has some infrastructure in place where they think that might make sense,
Right,
To,
and then,
to
like that-
promote a team and players and jerseys and all this other
That
stuff.
seems like the promising aspect of this because like the world of esports could use a little more structure.
Yeah, I could probably use
A little more kind of just, I don't know.
I was gonna say some more business that is maybe slightly less ice cold, but I guess like the fucking wonderful world of agents and player contracts is actually the icest, coldest.
It's about as raw as it gets.
So, I don't know. Maybe the Sixers just realized that at some point people are gonna like the football concussion conversation will at some point somehow migrate to basketball. I don't know. This guy got hit in the head with a ball and now he's crazy. So all sports will become esports.
So check out this league team.
I don't know.
Lastly,
What you got?
You guys want to watch a Firewatch movie?
I think I already did.
Firewatch is going to be a
when I
movie.
played it, right?
Is that supposed to be like a sick burn? I'm not sure.
Oh
It was
shit!
I can't
really,
tell.
It was really bad.
Oh,
it was
fuck.
a really bad.
I can't
I'm
tell how
sorry.
sharp that was supposed to be.
Will the
it's
movie
not.
support the Xbox One controller? Because the fucking game sure didn't. Oh shit!
Man,
No, I actually should go back and see if it does now because
I have to. Surely they fix that.
At some point I uninstalled Firewatch because I couldn't continue to play it. 'cause
Yeah,
it
they just rolled out,
didn't
but
work.
the Xbox One version just came out, and they rolled out the patch with all that like behind the scenes stuff in it.
Right.
That's out there.
Okay.
I feel like that would translate well, maybe because it is so
It's a character piece.
cinematic and
Totally,
yeah.
totally. It is absolutely a character driven, kind of nice self contained little drama.
Yeah.
Do you just
Yeah.
you just cast the guy who played Henry as Henry? Like that's what I would do.
depends on his look. I don't know what that guy looks like.
He's what's his name? Rich Summer. Is his name? He was in Mad Men.
Oh,
He's the guy with the glasses.
Yeah.
The like, kind of slightly stockier guy from Mad Men with the glasses.
sure.
Like, I could you just have him grow a beard and wear flannel. He would totally look the part of a guy sitting in a watchtower.
Yep.
They're working with Good Universe, which is a film production.
Scarlett Johansson is the lady on the radio.
Sure. Yeah, that's the thing, because you never see that character at all in this thing. I mean, I'm sure it'll be adapted for the format. But,
Yeah, I wonder, like, you know, how
Kiefer
much of
Sutherland.
this is a retelling of that existing
Yeah.
story, and how much of it is like, oh, we liked what Firewatch did
Mhm.
thematically, and we're gonna change it up a little bit.
Yeah.
At the end of our thing, we've decided that a bunch of bank robbers are going to hide out in the forest,
Okay.
and you're gonna have to shoot them all.
Okay. There'll be like 200 or 300 of them.
And then Firewatch the movie, the game, is going to be the thing I want to play.
It'll be all like digitized sprites
Yeah.
of the actors.
Yeah.
It sounds like like on top of this specific film deal, like the Campo Santo is doing like an ongoing thing with this film production company. Like, where is it? Like, effectively, they're going to basically collaborate on future projects as well. Like, you could kind of see Campo Santo, whatever they do next, they could be developing with an eye toward also spinning that out
Does it say what this
as a film.
company has done, movie-wise in
let's
the past?
see.
if anything?
The Neighbors movies, starring Seth Rogen and Zac Efron.
Oh,
I've
Ring any
seen
bells?
trailers for those.
I don't know what that is. I mean, I know who those dudes are.
Yeah, the one that just
Not-
came out, I think their neighbors is a sorority. So there's a bunch of
Okay.
girls gone wild stuff
Okay,
next
I
to
could
Seth Rogen and whoever plays his wife.
I could believe that. That sounds like a movie that they would do. Anyway, I don't know. That seems like for once a video game property that is well suited
right,
to
like in
an adaptation.
in a world where
Yes.
fucking asteroids and all this other stuff
Yeah,
that is
are
like the
showing up
thinnest
and-
shit in the
Yeah.
world is
like even something like BioShock can't successfully
Getting
make its way to the
options.
screen. Like this probably has a better shot.
Uncharted.
Right.
right. Yeah,
Is that Assassin's Creed movie come out?
yeah.
Maybe.
I have no fucking idea.
Is it still coming out?
Until you had said that, I forgot that it existed.
I saw a trailer for it at one point.
Did that come out?
Oh, didn't they show? When did they run that trailer at E3? Right.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
That seems like something. Yeah, because the Animus is now this big fucking thing you're hooked into.
Right.
And, right.
I feel
in
like
the
we would
movie.
have heard more
Did-
if that movie had
Did
come
that
out.
movie?
I don't think so.
I have to know now.
The Warcraft movie came out.
Yes, that did come out. For
I
sure.
saw Halloween costumes for the Warcraft movie at the Halloween store
Nice.
in the video game section next to like an Attack on Titan jacket.
Did you get that jacket?
Fuck no. It's too small.
December 21st is when Assassin's Creed is coming
Okay.
out. So stay tuned.
I think that Ghost in the Shell movie looks all right from the trailers.
Yeah, it could be.
They're very minuscule.
Yeah.
They don't show a whole lot, but it looks like
There's this dude
kinda-
shooting a gun and he kind of looks like the character and you're like, all right, okay.
yeah,
And then Scarlett Johansson.
Sure.
looks sort of Blade Runnery.
All right, let's move into some emails. That was it for news.
All right.
Like maybe a third of the emails I pulled were addressed to Dan,
Okay.
and now Dan's not here.
I can take all those.
All right. Send all of Dan's emails to Jeff.
As Dan's representative.
Okay.
All
right.
I can sign for his packages.
Okay.
And
Sounds good. All right. Well, then here we go. Nick from Philly writes in. He wrote to bombcast@chinabomb.com, by the way. Lately, I noticed a trend with incidents such as his disdain for graffiti, the legality of Boxmaker, and the mysterious totem Dan found on the beach that prompted him to call the police. It all got me wondering, is Dan a narc?
yeah,
Yeah.
1,000%.
Yeah.
As his spokesman, you can
Doesn't
confirm.
even know it.
We can confirm that he's
Yeah.
almost certainly.
Just no chill whatsoever.
Yeah, that dude,
Fucking just can't.
that dude is calling the cops
Can't-
on your party, and he's at your party stealing your booze at the same time.
Can't just let it go.
He will also leave a stink bomb at your party, the legality of which is perhaps questionable.
Can't let people have their fun.
Call
All
the
right.
cops.
Okay. Good to establish that. Connor wrote in from Apple Valley about that Warthog.
Oh,
This one's for Drew, primarily. Is the Warthog dashboard as seen in Forza Horizon 3 canon for the Halo series? Does Master Chief even need the air conditioning shown in the Forza Quick Look, or is his suit climate controlled?
I mean, Master Chief's not the only one using that Warthog.
Right.
Oh,
Regular ass
right.
people drive that.
Yeah,
That's a good
Marines, man, grunts.
That's a good point. I didn't think
They don't
of that.
got no fancy air conditioned suit.
Master Chief is on the gun
Yeah,
That's true, yeah.
while the
or
AI
in the
fucking
passenger
fucks
seat
up
with
driving.
his foot on
yeah,
the dash.
Exactly.
Yeah. I haven't seen that. How is the interior of that thing?
It looks like a car. It's
Yeah,
really
it's,
weird.
it's real weird.
Did they not like in a bad way? Like they didn't put any effort into
no,
it?
it's funny.
Okay.
in kind of an
Okay.
anachronistic way.
Yeah.
The Warthog Dash has changed over the years. I think in the original Halo, it had sort of like a what's the Star Trek LCARS? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Looking
control panel?
sweep for the accelerator.
Okay.
And it would go like brrrr as you accelerated. The one in Forza, I didn't get a real good look at it, but it looks It might look kind of like the Tesla Dash. I think there's like a
the thing in the middle or whatever.
In the middle.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. It's cool seeing it modeled, driving first person.
I spent some time driving a Tesla in Forza Horizon 3.
Oh, is there one in
is it
there?
in there?
Yeah, with ludicrous mode. They make sure to point out
What?
that it has ludicrous mode enabled.
Okay.
That's a firmware update that they put out. Or
Is that the one?
It's like a mode you can unlock.
Does it also have self-driving mode?
No, it does not. No. That would be fascinating. That's what I want to see.
It's the Model S.
I don't think so. Maybe.
Does it look like a sedan or
Yeah.
does it look like a sports car?
It looks like a sports car.
Like a Lotus?
Oh yeah, the S. The S,
No, it is not. It is not the Lotus looking
Roadster?
one. It is the bigger one.
Okay.
The S was the one that like everybody who needs a real actual functional car got excited about, right? When the pre-orders went up for
Right,
that.
not
That
just
was
like
the-
a tractor.
Is that the
like
one
a-
that's not out yet?
I don't
Or is that the
believe so.
3?
The 3 is not out yet.
Okay.
The 3 looks like a Prius. Like a coupe.
Okay.
Well, yeah, like the S is just like a 4-door sedan, right?
Yeah,
like
I
that's
think
the
I'm
one
pretty-
that if you have like kids and you need your car to actually be useful. That's
Anyway,
the one you get.
it's fun driving a car with no engine noise that accelerates
Oh,
like pretty fucking crazy.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily say it's ludicrous, but it's a fast fucking car in that video game.
Huh.
Okay.
So
That's cool.
Yeah.
Curious to see that. Chris wrote in from Miami for Jeff about Galgun.
all right.
In the PSN store, there is a DLC for Galgun Double Piece where you see through the clothing of all girls instantly.
Yep.
The cost is $90.
Yep.
I've attached a photo for reference. There are also 2 other DLCs for $10 each, one to make the bust sizes larger for all the girls and one to make them smaller. Since you're the professional Galgun correspondent, should I buy these?
No. You didn't need to write that question to know the answer to that question.
All right. Did you buy them?
No.
Okay. Let's make sure. Is that
No, it's not on PC,
Oh,
so
okay.
we could theoretically actually see all that stuff.
okay?
Any workshops?
I'll leave that to you.
I don't know that it has workshop support,
Ooh,
sadly.
yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds very dangerous.
Hopefully they'll add VR support at some point.
The way he worded
Summer
this,
lesson style.
Oh God.
I don't even want to know.
You're gonna know.
Don't want to know.
You're gonna know.
Okay, all right.
That shit sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, the way he worded this,
It's like,
it
is
makes
it just like one item for
it makes
like?
it makes it sound like is this transparent clothing thing something you can like unlock anyway?
No, I don't think so.
Or it's-
I
you
think
have
this
to pay
is
the $90
specifically,
for it?
Yeah. Like
Huh.
if you want it, you need to really want it.
Got to pay for it.
Japan, I get it, but fuck, creepy sometimes,
Yeah.
dude. Jesus. Oh,
I am way into the idea of just like, all right, yeah, you're gonna pay through the nose for this
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you really want it.
that's fine if it was. I don't know. There's like underage girls there and shit. Just fucking stop. Just knock it off.
Blake from Texas.
Now who's the narc?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Damn.
me, I guess.
Blake from Texas wrote in just to ask: is Boxmaker the Gianna sisters of 2016?
No, we're holding out for Gianna Sisters Maker to really close the loop on this fucking bullshit.
Super Gianna Maker.
Yeah. Yeah. Boxmaker's real crazy.
Yeah, I saw that you guys streamed some of that. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Man. That thing is bad.
Yeah. Is it
Controls real bad.
is it litigious in any way?
Like define like probably not
Okay.
actually.
Really?
As a non-lawyer.
Yeah.
But I think it's one of those things. Well, okay, so actually there are some assets in there that came
Yeah.
out of like Maple Story and some other stuff like that.
Oh.
Like that's the part that is probably a problem. The part where they made a bootleg Super Mario Maker probably not technically illegal.
Okay.
But I'm not a lawyer. But some people who like care about the IP trademark stuff and have spent a little more time staring at it than I have, kind of looked at it and went like, this is maybe borderline in some spots, but you can't really trademark this sort of stuff. This is not part of an IP, so
Sure.
So it's different enough to maybe make it
How much is that thing?
$4.
$4?
Yeah.
Okay.
And free on
feel like
phones
that-
if
that
you want
kind
to
of-
go down the microtransaction rabbit hole.
Like that
And
kind
are
of,
cool with
kind of changes the
Cool
conversation.
with the whole thing being in Chinese.
in Chinese.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah.
I didn't realize it. Okay.
The Steam app is in English. They've corrected most of the misspellings, I
Okay.
think, in their translation.
Not
But
bad. That sounds
I
like something
deleted
should-
it off my phone because I was scared.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that. I can see that.
I saw some like Android emulators on my PC that got me a little scared yesterday. Yeah, I don't know if I want to go down that road. There's some weird shit.
I
like
installed
BlueStacks.
I installed BlueStacks a while ago,
and it started installing a ton of shit that I don't know that I gave it permission to, and I'm like, nope, fuck you.
Is that-
yeah,
Yahoo Toolbar.
yeah.
Is that just like an
It wasn't
Android
like-
VM like
Yeah.
emulator type thing?
Yeah. exactly.
So their ransom thing is either you pay them money for premium service or they get to install Android apps into your Android virtual machine so that they can make money on the app installs.
Gotcha. Okay. All
So,
right. So it's
theoretically, it should just be Android shit. And also, every time that screen has come up for me, it's never actually gone and installed the apps. Like it's just broken or something.
Do you think it's actually like installing in the VM machine and not your actual machine, so you can't uninstall those? Do you know what I mean? What I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's what. Okay. I think
I'm
that's
not.
what it is.
I'm not positive.
Are you signing into that thing with your Google account?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oof.
That
sounds
kind
a
of
little
the scary shit.
right,
That sounds kind of scary.
I mean,
I don't.
okay, yeah. Now that you say it out loud, I guess. I wanted a second installation of Tap Tycoon so I could join one of the giant bomb teams because I was in another better team on my phone, and actually I wanted to play WWE Slam to try to get free cards and trade it to myself, but that app keeps crashing. You can play Pokemon Go on that thing, and it's got a GPS faker, so you can just fake the
Really?
walking.
Oh wow! You just like
and
drag,
some of the-
drag it around to tell where you are.
actually it'll map to like you can like make
keyboard
wide changes,
mapping.
but it's got
Yeah.
keyboard mapping, so you can just like
WASD your
walk.
way around.
It's kind of cool.
Right.
That's super nuts.
BlueStack. I don't know if BlueStacks had like a hardware acceleration. Like I was playing Teeny Titans, and they looked completely aliased and,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
really
it
shitty
kinda-
looking.
It looks a little
but
janky. Actually,
There's some other.
the actual real reason I installed BlueStacks, like I ended up doing all that shit with it, and then like realizing I was wasting my life.
Yeah.
The actual thing I wanted to do was install the Japan-only Phantasy Star Online 2 app.
Nice.
And because the people that translate
Shit. Yeah.
translate the proper version of PSO2 also released an English version of that, like an English hack for that. And I was like, well, fuck it. I want to see this through.
You need
Let's
the
ride
entire
this all
I
the
do
way
too,
down.
The entire PSO2 experience.
So I tried installing that and got nowhere with it. I couldn't get it to translate into English, and B, it seems like a bad game.
PSO2 is super dated. Or you're talking about the mobile experience?
The mobile experience.
Gotcha.
But yes, PSO2, just as it happens. I guess as a result of a lot of the Vita hijinks that have been happening recently, the people that do PSO2 on PC have been trying to translate that Vita version into English as well,
Oh, weird.
which I think is interesting.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of clones, you guys check out Paladins?
oh
at all?
yeah, I
Have you
meant to
heard?
ask you about that.
It's a high-res joint, and yeah.
Wait, Hi-Res made that thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it came out of like China.
Right.
You would
yeah,
think.
it looks like it, doesn't it?
What?
You would think. No,
I
it
saw-
actually, like, in action, like, it looks
Oh,
pretty good.
yeah. I remember now seeing some early promo.
But, man, they really like Overwatch, and they've really tried to make Overwatch.
Their Overwatch
Yeah.
tribute.
I
is-
saw. I've seen some certain people on my Twitter feed have been like highly indignant about that thing and the similarities.
I can get behind that. Like, it's pretty striking, especially when you're playing it. And there's a lot of characters that are just, like, one-to-one, you know, that's... there's some animations actually that look almost exactly the same.
Is there a turret guy?
Yeah, there's
Is-
totally
is
a
he
turret
a-
guy.
is
Is
he
he
a
a
dwarf?
dwarf? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, totally. Is there
Yeah.
a Reinhardt?
But
clone?
it's free to play, and then there's like a $15 Founders Pack thing that kind of gets you everything, right?
yeah, exactly. It's actually kind of good. Like if I didn't have the money for Overwatch, and wanted to play Overwatch,
Yeah.
this is actually kind of a good alternative. Like it plays pretty good.
Yeah.
I will say that it's
Right.
animated pretty well.
Yeah.
And at like $15, for like the entire roster.
I've heard very
that's
bad
all right.
things about that game's map design.
I
But
can't really speak to that.
yeah.
I haven't played it a ton, but
Yeah.
like it's an alternative. But man, it's hard to say nice things about that game when they're so overtly trying
Yeah.
to just ape that entire game.
I can see that.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it's pretty gross.
Hmm.
It's pretty. Sorry, guys, but
Sounds like something a narc would say.
yeah,
Place is
Sorry.
full of narcs. Never gonna party with you guys again.
Call the Blizzard cops.
Vince wrote in from Reston.
All right.
Where's Reston?
He left off any kind of other identifying information. I have no idea where Reston is.
Earth?
Yeah, I guess, yeah, sure. Let's assume that it's on Earth. I remember Jeff recalling his time watching Steel Worldwide and grocery hauls. Are there any other oddities that you've come across recently that you'd like to share on YouTube? I recently found a channel where a guy named Stobe the Hobo illegally train hops to get across America.
Stobe.
Yeah, he included a link.
That sounds pretty good.
Anything new going on in your YouTube land?
Yeah, but nothing to report.
Yeah, nothing yet.
Yeah, no. It's,
Are you on the bleeding edge?
there's stuff out there that like I see from time to time, and like, but I feel like if I talked about it, those people would have a bad time.
Okay,
Those people would get harassed in a way that would be that would not be cool.
Yeah,
so
that will totally fucking happen because the internet is a huge mistake.
Yeah. Whereas Steel Worldwide,
Yeah.
that guy is gonna drink his malt liquor in his garage
Okay.
and
not give a fuck.
and not give a fuck.
All right. Good.
So that's just how it's gonna go, I guess. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna be a narc about any of these other YouTube channels.
Okay.
Fair
enough.
Yeah, I don't know. It's yes.
If and when they're ready to make themselves known,
there is
they
a
will do
long dark world out there. The world is a very crazy place, and there are a lot of people out there that are probably perfectly nice people, and they are making a lot of YouTube videos in the style of other YouTube videos, and you see it and you go like they're trying to make it, like this is gonna be the thing for them that is gonna like turn it around, and they're gonna get a bunch of YouTube money. They see other people doing it, and they're like, why can't I?
Yep.
We're gonna make these cooking videos. I'm going to eat this food on camera, and we're going to all be millionaires by this time next year. And you just watch it and go, and it's just like this. It's real reality television. Whereas Cheaters was real reality television.
Yeah.
This is real reality television of just like people putting themselves out there, and you just like you check in on it and just go like, man, wow.
Could admire their heart.
It's
If nothing else,
they're
going for
they
it.
mean well, and they're going for it, but like this is not going to happen.
Just know
This is probably not going to happen for you the way you think it is.
Yeah.
It's
been a real gold rush
It's
in that space, and like online streaming and stuff like that.
It's a very strange time for the world.
I kind of felt like it has maybe peaked though by now. Like,
I mean, if it has, no one. That's the kind of part of this.
Nobody told them.
No one told.
yeah.
Them
Well, what I mean
like,
is,
they're trying to get into very well staked out
Oh yeah,
territory.
that's what I mean. Like I thought
And-
what had peaked was the number of people starting from nothing, thinking
There will always be
still,
people
like, land
that
to grab.
There's always going to be land to grab because
Yeah.
there will always be people coming up with new, fresh
Yeah.
ideas.
Yeah, sure.
It's not that. It's that people
Yeah,
are
yeah.
emulating the things that they see.
Yeah.
And going like, well, I'm going to do that. I'm going to make that type of video, and I'm going to name it this way, and I'm going to do this sort of thing, and do it the way these other people are doing it.
If I just
and
check
try
all
to-
the boxes, then I will
Exactly. If I
start
check
making
all these boxes, we'll all be rich.
6 figures tomorrow.
And that's the thing that you just go like,
Yeah, no.
man,
Nope.
no. Like, I
Nope.
wish I could just like reach through the screen and just the hand side. Just no, it's not gonna. This is not the way.
Yeah.
There could be a way, but you have to find your own path.
Yeah.
Not everyone can be a YouTube hero.
Not
Speaking
every-
of Narcs,
yeah. Go on.
no, I don't know. The YouTube hero program seems fucking crazy.
Wait, what?
They have gamified community moderation over at YouTube. You can sign up to become a hero.
I did see some outrage about
And-
like crowdsourced community
it's
moderation or
crowdsourced
something
community
like
moderation in a way that just like a lot of creators
Mhm.
seem to come out strongly against it
Okay.
as like something that was like very poorly conceived.
that. Is it significantly different from your standard kind of upvoting, downvoting type stuff?
Well, I
or-
think it's more that you're like theoretically like flagging videos that will then theoretically get taken off of YouTube, and you're earning points. And if you earn enough points, you get to meet people who work at YouTube.
Wait, are you moderating content or?
I think it's content,
community?
not comments. I think it's
Oh.
not community moderation.
Oh.
It's content.
Oh, I thought they have algorithms to do that.
Yeah,
already.
right.
Like, what?
I like the comments is what actually probably needs
Yeah.
more stringent moderation.
Yeah,
but
totally.
they actually have a bunch of robots in place for that as well.
Those robots are falling down on the job.
You can configure the robots in a handful of different ways
Okay.
if there are specific words you don't want to see anymore.
They
You
have
can-
not configured their robots to be narcs. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. The world's a surprising place at every turn. It never ceases.
Certainly is.
This is the world we live in.
Someone
It's fun. I wouldn't have it any other
Yeah,
way
I guess
in a
you're
lot of
right.
ways.
Yeah,
Fuck it.
Someone going only by the name of Soup Bones wrote in
Okay.
about sanitary microphones. It's Tuesday, September 20th, and I'm watching your Bombcast live. Dan still seems to be suffering a bit from that Minnesota jank that has been spreading around your office.
Mm-hmm.
A thought occurred to me as I watched Dan cough several times. Do you guys change out your microphone heads? I would imagine those foam heads are absorbing Dan's viral shit and waiting to find a new host. You guys saw Alien, right?
Yeah, I mean that's the reality is that we should probably do that, but no, I don't think we are, right?
Especially now that a bunch of other people are also using this room.
Right. I mean, yeah, that's we've been talking into microphones that plenty of other random strangers use for years.
Yeah, that was always the joke about the Sixth Floor studio, right? Is that those pop filters had been on there for like a decade or
Right,
something without being changed.
Yeah.
getting spittle all over them and stuff.
But this microphone generally stays here, and I try to only use this microphone. So in terms of maybe, I'm sure other people use it. And
These don't smell weird yet.
No, they don't smell weird yet.
That was the thing, is the ones upstairs. I never got close enough to find out, but
Yeah,
you guys would say that they smelled very
sometimes.
questionable.
Yeah. But how long can a virus like that live in microphone foam? If it lasts more than a week, then maybe we have a problem.
Right.
But if it's not, if anyone else here gets sick using our studio, that's on them.
Yep.
Shouldn't use our studio.
It's an occupational hazard.
Yeah.
It's just what you put up with.
We're going to filth it up. We're going to grime it up in here.
Yep. The room has been thoroughly duded.
I've pooped on this table. Don't tell anybody.
I won't say anything. It came right out of the felt. It was amazing.
No, well, that's,
We treated for it.
Yes.
Scotch guarded this whole room.
Let's see. Tom wrote in with some PlayStation VR concerns. I'm getting nervous about buying a PlayStation VR. As a piece of tech, it is in my personal sweet spot of price and capability, but it feels like Sony is already stepping away from it. As fast as the Vita was abandoned, I feel like if VR struggles at all, Sony might just give up on their headset in the same way. Am I being ridiculous, or should I wait until the thing has been out for 6 months before deciding to jump in?
That's actually a good point, but I think it depends on what you want out of the headset. Like, it's launching with a healthy lineup. Sony does seem to be behind it right now. So
some other major like Capcom is, their RE7 is going to be on there.
And it was a little weird at their last event. There was barely any mention of a PlayStation VR. So maybe a lot of.
I don't think that's them stepping away from it so much as they had a lot of stuff to get through that was not VR.
You talking about the E3 presentation?
Not the E3,
the Pro thing.
The Pro thing. Yeah. Sure.
I mean, the more they mention VR at the Pro thing, the more they confuse people about whether you need a Pro to do VR or not.
Yep.
And they kind of said what they needed to say regarding VR.
Yeah.
So people shouldn't, people shouldn't take that as a sign that.
No, I think they have gotten pre-orders for probably all of their launch units at this point. So you could talk about it, but doesn't mean people are necessarily going to easily find one this holiday season. So maybe they're, they have their big release, they have their big launch, they do their thing, and then maybe they start hitting it harder again next year.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He didn't mention it, but I wonder.
But that's when you look at stuff like the Vita and some of the other stuff that like
PlayStation Move, last generation,
even the PlayStation Pro, if that thing doesn't move, you start to wonder okay, at what point do they just go all right, turns out the base model PS4 is the model. We're gonna keep selling these things because it would look bad for us to stop, but hey.
And the games will keep getting supported in a nominal fashion.
Yeah,
does the
PlayStation 4 Pro become the right analog stick equivalent of the 3DS?
Right.
How many games actually
do anything
require
meaningful
that
with it?
and do anything meaningful with it?
He didn't mention it, but I wonder if some of those layoffs at certain Sony studios that have been deep in VR may have contributed to his concerns.
That certainly
that stuff doesn't necessarily look great, but at the same time, it's a sad, just standard operating procedure.
Right. Project's done.
Of just fucking jettisoning all your people after they're done crunching on your project.
They all say job's done, but instead of right-clicking on another building for them to build, you just
send them at the enemy base.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, basically. Just attack move them. I don't know. I feel weirdly bullish about that thing. Just because Sony is such an established publishing house, Right. Oculus is a totally new thing. Valve's got other stuff going on, that's more side project for them. But Sony is a company that funds and publishes video games.
Well, and they've got the cheapest headset.
It's
no Gear VR, I guess.
It stands a better chance of more people buying it probably.
Yeah.
I am weirdly optimistic about that thing's chances.
I think for me, the where it starts to break down is I think that a lot of the larger publishers doing VR projects for PlayStation VR, that's been the stuff that we've looked at and been man, this doesn't seem good.
Sure, the launch wave of stuff. There's a whole lot of you made a little short thing out of existing assets, or
right?
Something.
The thing I'm looking at, it's stuff like Super Hypercube that I'm looking at and go games of that size and scope, Thumper, Rez, replaying Rez,
the little Psychonauts thing that Double Fine is doing, as usual, the cool experimental stuff is happening at the indie level.
Yeah, and I think that's that sweet spot where that's why I'm now thinking about buying a Vive is because there are all these experiences that I want to fuck with, but they're all things I want to fuck with.
Yeah, I guess
they're all things I want to
homebrewy type weird shit.
Things that are half broken and just mess around with this stuff and go man, this is cool. Look at how messy and weird this is.
Right.
Our dark future is forming ahead of the idea that hey, you can play through RE7 in VR. That's cool. They should get more developers on board and we should get there. but like that individual game and what they're doing with that and what they're doing with Final Fantasy and this Batman thing, like none of that stands out as like, hey, this is a thing we need to do. This is all going to be amazing content. I just look at it and go like, all right, these people don't seem to have picked up the learnings that all these indie developers have been figuring out for years in their big budget, now that they're making these big budget projects. The other problem that we keep, that I keep seeing that seems like it's happening with VR stuff now. Someone got a hold of me and said that Hover Junkers is basically dead.
Oh,
What?
that's sad.
How so?
Because it's a indie multiplayer game.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
that requires a VR headset.
Yeah, that requires a VR headset. So it's like all those players are now playing Onward, which is a military themed game. Like, like people that are looking for a multiplayer shooter experience, like they're not even necessarily like some are in Rec Room, but like the player bases move from game to game to game in a way that like if you bought a Vive now and you're like, oh man, I remember when the Vive came out, that Hover Junkers thing sure looked awesome. You might get it and not find any players.
That's
and
a real bummer.
Steam
It's
will
like an MMO.
Yeah, Steam will let you get refunds.
Yeah,
So it's like they've got a way out, but that's the hard part about making any multiplayer game these days is like if no one's around to play it, like that game becomes effectively worthless.
I mean, you said even Eve Valkyrie is like kind of dead, right?
I mean, I haven't checked in lately. Last time I checked in, I did find some players again, but it seemed like there was a brief wave, and now that thing's not free anymore when you buy a Rift. So, but that thing's coming out on PlayStation VR. I don't think it connects to the PC version or anything like that. But another opportunity to play that game if you so desire. Yeah. So the idea of like making a multiplayer focused VR game is just like install base issue on top of maintaining a player base issue. Like that's the hugest uphill battle for all this stuff right now. So you look at something like Rigs on the PlayStation VR.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it looks like it could be cool. I haven't played it. Looks like it could be neat. I don't know.
That does look pretty
But
fantastic.
at the same time, how many people are going to have headsets? How many people are going to be wanting to play a multiplayer thing with their headset? Like, these are all hard questions that we're not going to have answers to. But when you look at how smaller multiplayer-focused games tend to go, it can be a ghost town immediately. I haven't tried lately. Maybe you, but I never did once get into an online video ball match.
Oh yeah,
Like it was kind of fucked up at launch, and I know they patched it at some
They did
point.
patch,
and
and I can't say that I've tried it since.
I've tried it once a little
when
bit
that
after the patch
launched-
and never found it.
Yeah, it was messed up at first, and that killed it for me.
Yeah, I mean there are cool games out there that like are not going to maintain a player base because they're small by nature.
Yeah, that's what a crapshoot. Like you couldn't pay me $1 zillion to bet my livelihood on.
Right.
Well, maybe if you paid me $1 zillion, maybe it wouldn't be a problem. But you know what I mean? Like
I would bet all of my livelihood on none of these games are going to make it.
Like
in
betting
terms of
the farm on a small
multiplayer
game.
Like,
absolutely.
like none of them are going to persist.
Like there's like one Rocket League for every who knows like how many, like 24 or something like little multiplayer games that just die on the vine, and that's it's super
like the
sad.
safe money would be like nope.
Yeah.
Every single time.
But if there is going to be something that's popular, it's probably going to be unlike PlayStation VR. Like they're going to have a pretty, condensed, install base. It sounds like it's selling out a lot of places, and PlayStation has the ability to push certain games. Not only that, like the ecosystem, the community and stuff. It's a lot easier to find.
Yeah, a lot of PS4s out there.
Yeah. So, I don't know. If you're looking to get into VR, like I think PlayStation VR might be the good middle ground.
Yeah, if I had to pick one, I think that's
like the best
I'm
bang
right
for
now,
your
but
buck.
That's probably right. I think we'll have to wait and kind of see how all the software comes in. But the headset works. It's very capable.
We've seen,
so for like this
we've
wave,
seen some good stuff come out of it already. So
yeah, when you start thinking about there seem to be advancements made on the types of sensors that are used in Vive tracking. I did have this brief thought of I've decided that I probably want to put a Vive in my home. But now what? Do I go spend that money right now?
Tilt brush.
Or do I
Or
wait and see what the next round of headsets bring?
You should have waited for a 1080 Ti.
Yeah.
You'll have to go get one of those.
If there is a next round of headsets.
What about the Starbreeze headset with its super wide, crazy FOV thing, right? I mean,
is
it just called Star VR?
I think so.
Yeah, I think you're right.
That's the name of it. Who knows if they even have active plans to rush out another version of those things right now.
Like, could the market support?
Right.
The market seems barely able to support the existing headsets
Right.
in
And
terms
like-
of interest level and excitement and all
What
that
happens,
sort of
what
stuff.
happens to all those people that
price.
bought your first model and get super
Yeah.
mad that
But I think
There's
that's
a better one
part
out.
of this new sensors tech that I was reading up on. Was it actually was like, okay, this reduces the number of parts in a Vive by a lot, to where they could actually start making them more cheaply, almost like a slim style remodel, less about necessarily like, hey, this is way better, and more about like, hey, maybe they just iterate on it over time to bring their costs down.
that sounds promising.
And then have their generational shift once the tech is advanced.
Is that the thing with the Star VR? Like higher FOV?
Yeah, it's like wide.
So you don't get like the goggle effect?
That was the
I
idea.
guess that's
Or
the
you get
idea.
less of one?
I think Dan tried that
Dan
thing.
tried it, but I
okay.
have not. So, yeah. That was the wheelchair shooting game.
Zombie
thing.
grabbing you.
Yes, indeed.
Is that a Walking Dead game?
I think
Is that
so.
a license thing?
I think so.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Great.
Max wrote in with a burning question from the UK.
Mm.
Last week, I traded my car in for a SNES and some SNES games that I have never played.
Fucking word.
Could you please tell me if this was a good deal or not? Details below.
Okay. Let's hear
The
about
car. A 2001 Peugeot 206, ugly green color, flat battery, and the brake discs needed replacing. No MOT, which I gather is some kind of like British emissions test thing. Scrapyard offered me £29.
Whoa.
In trade, a SNES console with one controller plus wires. I have not tested the SNES to see if it works yet. Super Mario World. This is the only game that I have played from this list. Alien 3. WWF Royal Rumble. Tecmo Super NBA Basketball. This looks like a Japanese game. A Japanese game converter thing, I think.
Okay.
That's it.
Man, that's it.
I mean, you got
Like
Super
those
Mario
games?
World
Yeah, that's pretty great.
for a car.
Yeah.
Anything else is just
Yeah.
gravy.
I mean,
He doesn't-
if that car is worth £29,
Yeah.
that's probably £29 worth of video game.
Yeah, I guess so. He doesn't mention which version of the SNES it was, but I guess they're all functionally kind of the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Did they even do the remake over there, the smaller
I
one?
don't know.
The cool thing about the PAL SNESs is that they are branded Super Nintendo, but they are in Super Famicom cases.
right.
So they
neat.
actually are pretty
Oh,
fucking
that's right,
cool.
yeah.
And does it have the colored buttons on the controller and stuff?
I don't know about that.
Huh.
That might be.
I'm going to say if it looks like a Super Famicom, I'm going to say you came out ahead on that deal.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What a dumb thing.
But man, you can put put
2006?
more money into
No,
it.
2001. The car was 2001.
You got to buy games now. Retro games aren't particularly cheap. The good ones.
He's got that converter. He can get a bunch of Japanese stuff.
Yeah, I suppose. Okay.
I'm going to say he made the right call.
Yeah, that's probably.
Yeah, I think so.
If a scrapyard, scrapyard's always going to lowball you.
Yes.
True. And what color was the car?
Green.
Ugly,
Yeah, fuck
ugly
that.
green,
Yeah,
he
fuck
says.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Way better deal.
You don't need to go anywhere anyway. You got Super Mario World.
It's true. You're set
Just
for
fucking
life.
stay home.
Yeah.
Order some takeaways.
Yes.
Get some curries.
Put it in your boot.
Put it in the boot.
Yeah. Tesco probably delivers.
Pram.
Boom.
That's what I got.
Yeah.
Giovanni wrote in from Germany.
Herb.
Get some high-tech silver shadows and then don't wear them because you're not leaving the house.
What is that?
Shoes?
Ah, okay.
Oh, you mean trainers?
Trainers. Sorry, trainers.
Some kicks. Giovanni wrote in from Germany and said, after having achieved enough Japanese knowledge to try the challenge, I imported the Japanese version of Persona 5.
Whoa.
The game is great, and I decided to stream it to some friends and translate some stuff to them on the side. However, that plan soon hit a wall since Atlas blocked sharing for the entire game past the 10-minute mark. This obviously does not stop people with capture cards from streaming the entire game, but only stops the everyday user who just wants to stream to some friends or even just take a screenshot or two.
At the 10-minute mark, like in the game, or
That's-
just
yeah.
you can only stream 10 minutes before it locks you out, regardless of
it sounds like past the 10-minute mark, and 10 minutes into the game, it just blocks everything after that, is what he's saying.
Fucking
Block content
idiots.
has existed for a while, but it was mostly restricted for licensed music and certain cutscenes. Should Sony not intervene at cert when the publisher blocks a major function of the console for basically the entire game?
That's totally like their discretion. Like,
Yeah.
It
you know,
is,
They don't want
but-
people to just watch the fucking game.
But
They
if,
want people to buy the
I mean,
game.
but it
Like, they're
accomplishes
protecting their
nothing
stuff.
because.
But I don't know if
there's-
you
there's so
remember
many-
when Persona 4 came out, there were assholes streaming that entire game
That's
on
true.
the internet.
Yeah.
They put up
They
videos
lost-
of the entire game.
They lost millions in sales over
Man.
those videos.
And that is fucked up.
Yep.
So
It's really bad.
so this is just them just righting that wrong.
I don't know. This sort of just feels like classic like Japanese corporate panic.
Totally. Yeah. Of just like yes, Japanese corporate panic is.
Is that on the Vita?
He should look out. He's got that Japanese game converter for his Super Nintendo.
Okay.
He should probably look at getting it.
This is right up there with like Square not wanting to give us B-roll tapes because we were the internet and we would allow people to pirate their games or something like that.
Oh, they didn't want to send us review copies.
Oh, right, that's what it was. Yeah.
We were a website.
Clearly GameSpot or videogames.com was going to post copies of their
A
games.
website.
It's videogamespot.com
There's
even then.
pirates on the internet.
That people
That's
could download. This obviously prevents nothing if their goal is to stop people from watching videos.
Yeah, I mean,
the game.
You can any geek off the street can go pick up an Elgato or
Yes.
AverMedia or whatever. All these consumer grade capture boxes.
I think it's a
get
bummer.
nuts.
Blocking your ending or something, I get it.
Yeah, but the entire game.
But the whole game,
I think even blocking the ending, I think is like a really shitty thing to do.
At a certain point, just let people do what they're going to do.
This is the world now.
Yeah.
You can either you can employ these dumb restrictions to try to.
People will always, always be able to
it
get
prevents
around it.
nothing. Anyone who's truly
true.
dedicated to getting that content out there will.
Well, and it prevents it. It prevents. It doesn't block the people you want to block. It blocks the people that just want to do something easily
Like a lot of,
and just
it
want to
becomes an
just wanna
annoyance
share it.
to people, and that's kind of the problem with a lot of piracy. Is the consumers actually get punished for this stuff.
Yeah.
Not that it's an extreme annoyance, but it really fucking bugs me whenever that little blip comes up on screen.
Yeah.
And especially if I'm in a cutscene or something like that.
I think you can turn it off, but
I know,
I leave
but-
it on because I want to know who
I
uses it where.
I very much want to know
Uh,
what they think is worth blocking.
Right, and oftentimes I feel like the stuff that is worth blocking, you just look at it and go like, why would?
Yeah.
All right, maybe there's a licensed song playing here or something, but this is insane. You people are crazy.
Like when they blocked the entire Street Fighter V beta from
Right.
being streamed.
Yeah.
Right. Stuff like that. That's dumb. Have you guys checked in on that game at all? Do people like it?
What?
Persona,
Yeah, I haven't
seems like people that can understand what is happening in that thing are digging it.
or are into it.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds promising.
Do they have a release date for US?
Yeah, it's like February.
Yeah.
It's like
That sounds right.
Valentine's Day. I want to say.
Oh,
February
yeah,
14th,
that's right.
Is right.
Seems like it's got as much style as everyone thought it would
Mhm.
based on
From the
some of the
trailers.
pre-release stuff.
All right.
You just look at it and go like, fuck.
I do like style.
Yeah.
Cool. Sounds fun. Question from Liam. Are you guys planning to do any more spoiler casts in the future? I love hearing you discuss games, but the only times you really go in depth is during Game of the Year, presumably due to not wanting to spoil the average player. Although, as Vinny always says, Game of the Year is where the games just get torn down. Having the occasional spoiler cast throughout the year would be great for games that were a big talking point amongst you and the community in general.
I just don't think that there are enough games that all of us are playing and finishing at or around the same time.
That
in a
is
way
the
that
actual
makes
problem.
sense. It's and also I don't think most games are worth it. Most games don't lend themselves to that type of discussion.
Yeah.
In a way that I think makes sense. But for the ones that do, I think those tend to be bigger, longer games that I think we'll, if we are going to finish them, we finish them at different times of the year.
It's just a
point where it's just not worth.
It's a logistical challenge because often we'll only get one copy early, and whoever's going to cover and or review it is playing it, and then everybody else gets around to it in their free time, and it just doesn't line up. Very well.
Yeah.
Inside was just a case of that game is 3 hours long, so of course we were all able to finish it quickly.
Yeah, and Metal Gear, we were
talk
just
about
all
it.
super into
And
that
Metal
game
Gear
at the
was just
time,
the fucking took over the office for a month. Those are rare, and we did a spoiler cast
Or an entire year of your
GS5.
life.
Right.
Actually,
Yes.
come to think of it, it would be fun to do more of that stuff, but it's tough. Here's a question from one Tranquil Fury. What if Attack on Titan is really a Honey, I Blew Up the Kids anime?
What if?
You tell me. I just asked questions.
Yeah.
Made that game somehow way darker.
Yeah.
Giant naked Rick Moranis. Or wait, is Rick Moranis tiny in that scenario?
Blew up the kids.
Blew up the
Oh,
kids.
the kids got big.
Kid.
Yeah.
Kids are big.
Duh. Yeah. Was that a movie or was that the TV show? There was a TV show, right?
Yeah. The
TV show was just
Honey,
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Okay.
Yeah.
That was the second movie.
I don't
It's
know.
the only time I've ever missed Dan. 'Cause
Yeah,
he-
I know.
he would have
This
the actual answers.
This
to
was
this
absolutely
question.
a question that I pulled with Dan in mind.
But I think I saw half of Honey, I Shrunk the Kid and thought this is shit, and have not watched any of the other stuff. So
That was fun. There was a big Oreo.
I don't remember anything about it.
There's a big ant too that made it.
The kid was small. Kids were
That was
small.
that was in the first movie. Wait, all right. So
Rick
the
Moranis
first-
was in it. That is
Yeah, the first
literally all
movie,
I
he was
remember
big
about
in
any
that
of this
one.
stuff.
But then
And
there was
then-
also Honey, I Shrunk the Kid, where they shrunk the baby. Does
That's
that
Blew Up
sound
the
right?
Kid.
Blew Up
That's
the
Blew Up the
Kid.
Kid. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
He's a
I
giant
don't
baby.
know. Oh, gosh.
And is there a Honey, I Shrunk the Parents?
Sure.
No.
Honey, we
Sure.
Shrunk Ourselves.
Honey, we
was
Shrunk
the third
Ourselves.
one.
One
and
of
that
them,
was-
one of them was direct to video, I believe. Isn't that what Dan said?
That sounds right.
Okay.
Sure. All right. There you have it. Did he actually get his Sprint iPhone?
Yeah.
I couldn't tell. I couldn't infer from the emails we
He
got whether he finally made it happen or
He
not.
eventually did. I saw him with it.
Because we got some real shit talking about Sprint.
Oh yeah, Sprint seems like the fucking worst, but I think like his employee discount is like
Yeah.
low to the point where you put up with it being
It
shit.
sounded pretty low. It sounded almost low enough to be
or
worth putting up
whatever
with
he-
a
whatever he
terrible
got
carrier.
from- yeah.
All right. Well, we won't get into any of that stuff. We'll wait to hear how that goes. All right. I think this might be the last email.
Alrighty.
Yeah, let's say this is the last email. Andrew from London, Ontario.
This is the last email.
Yes.
Oh, I thought we were all saying.
Oh, sorry. 3, 2. This
is
is the last email.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Now it's official. Andrew writes in and says, "Could dogs see VR? If so, what headset would you recommend?"
Cardboard.
Yeah.
Oh,
Cardboard.
yeah.
Something that would. Yeah.
Something that travels well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Something that's light,
Mm-hmm.
Something you can easily replace.
cheap. Yeah, cheap and
when it gets destroyed.
When it gets gnawed on.
okay. Yeah, sure.
Get one of those heavy duty cases for the phone and try to modify the cardboard to still work when it's in the case.
VRF.
All right. Yep.
That's what I was looking for.
Mhm.
God damn.
Bombcast@giantbomb.com. We have to end this show now.
Can we take one more email?
God damn it.
Or I guess we all agreed.
Nope, that was it.
That was the last.
no,
one.
there's no
we
coming
We
back.
go back on the
There's no coming back
sticklers
from.
for the rules around here. I
Yep.
swear.
Sorry. There's nowhere else to go after VR. I'm afraid.
Yeah.
All right.
Do
well,
you hear music, or am I losing
yeah,
my
I
mind?
feel
lobby
like
is
there's
starting,
been
I
some
think.
stuff going on outside.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the lobby starts in 15
that's
minutes.
like 15 minutes out, so they're definitely prepping for something
Rocking.
out there.
We call that I don't know what we call that. When you
Is there an industry term for that?
you send off.
It's
It's not a
lead in.
send-off, a
Lead in.
lead in.
Lead in.
Are we a lead in for the lobby?
No.
Is that what we are?
No.
It's like
No, we often go past. We overlap. We counter program the
Yeah.
lobby.
it's like that time that Leno ruined all those local news ratings.
Or the guys hiding in the closet.
Yeah, wow, there's really something going on out there, isn't there?
Yeah.
All right, well, we should get out of here and go see what they've got happening
Sure.
over there. Thanks for listening. This has been the Giant Bombcast. We will see you back here same time next week.